That's good.
Hey.
Oh, I can't.
Hello,
multi-chat
chaps. How's it
anymore.
going, dude?
Sorry.
You can't take him anywhere. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Just
The
gonna
stream
do
hasn't started, Sargon.
the stream has started. You just have to wait for it to catch up. But yeah, hey everyone, how are we doing? We're just doing a sort of chilling out community stream for Sunday evening, which is nice, I think. There's a bunch of people here, and we're gonna be. Well, I'm going to be playing Fallout, I guess, and we're going to be talking about just whatever has been going on. I guess the first thing is subscribe to PewDiePie, because I'm bizarrely invested in PewDiePie remaining the top YouTube channel of all time. What do you guys think about all this?
I think Big Man Tyrone put it best. PewDiePie needs to win this.
Why does PewDiePie need to win, though?
We have to win against the Hindus.
Because he's white?
God damn it.
That is much more clever, so
He's
I'm
our
gonna go...
pure-blooded Swedish boy.
well, PewDiePie needs to win so that we can stop this whole consolidation of media crap, because we're just going to turn the internet into broadcast media again.
Yeah.
I'd say he got my vote just because he had the balls to stand up to Washington Post and all those other outlets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's pretty woke in many ways, isn't he?
Subscribe to Keemstar, Gas Jews.
Right, so I'm just messing around with my character. Well,
And the primary point is corporate YouTube versus individual creators, isn't it? I think that's what we want to back.
yeah.
I think that's
Individuals
a good
rather than
way to put it.
corporations.
Well, I've heard it said that even if PewDiePie gets dethroned, he'll still be the biggest YouTuber because T-Series is not a YouTuber. It's a
E-Series is a company.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
conglomerate.
But that sounds like a cop out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Because remember, it used to be Ray William Johnson, and then Nigga Higga, and then I think there was someone before PewDiePie. And that
The
little-
first person to officially become top YouTuber was Fred, believe it or not.
Oh,
No, yeah, I remember Fred, but we don't count those days. Those were dark times.
I know, like 10 years ago, it was AVGN with his 50,000 subs.
Man, those
Oh
were the days.
yeah,
That was a
but
long
you know
time
he
ago.
also had Screw Attack, so he got inflated numbers.
Yeah,
Dude still gets great views.
yeah, he's still making AVGNs and they're still going strong, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him run out of ways to say piss, fuck, or cunt.
Normie.
Also, I'm not sure if the whole division between a YouTuber and a corporation is necessarily a cop-out, because if we're just going the biggest channel, then YouTube Music has been at over 100 million subs for a while now.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that, but
That's a good point, actually. Because then the
Another
whole...
angle to look at is the fact that when it comes to actual money grossed, subscribers, you gotta look at the duration of time people watch the videos for. And if you go at that angle where it's actually the amount of money you end up making from that, one of the biggest groups of channels that actually end up on top are kids' toy review channels. Specifically ones where they have the kids just basically unbox and play with toys.
Dude, those channels are addictive to other children. My son loves watching those channels. I don't know why. Don't know what he's getting out of it.
Yeah, I
explains
think
it.
it's just like flashy things, and kids like
Filtered stimulus.
flashy and fast-moving things. Oh, a surprise! They
Exactly.
like surprises, like the peekaboo
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
They like surprises, so it's mentally appealing to them.
Well,
I
did
think it's
take
also
child
like
psych-
a... Oh, go ahead, man.
I did take child psychology back in high school, and that does correspond with a few of the things that kids typically find attractive for, viewing or any kind of stimulation. That's just colorful, a little bit of unexpectedness, and just general, I guess you could throw in group enjoyment, just because the target audience is the same age as the person presenting it.
Well,
think
you
yeah.
see, well, they also have this weird fixation with eggs, but I'm also concerned about the kids because those kids are going to end up burnt out, and then mommy doesn't love them anymore because they are not bringing in the Google box.
I
Yeah, there's an
disagree.
ethical
I've
discussion
always
going on
been
there.
of the belief that as long as you have the parent there taking care of the kid, and they don't use any piece of technology as a substitute for a babysitter, the kid will be fine.
No, I'm not talking about the kids watching the videos. I'm talking about the kids in the videos when they're burnt out.
Oh,
Super chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might happen.
I think they get popular because it's like a child's version of a let's play, right? People watch
Basically.
let's plays because they want to see the game, but not actually buy the game. And they also get attached to the host, but they do want to see the games. And I think for kids, like watching somebody else unbox a toy and then play with it, kind of has the same effect.
Yeah,
Someone's
another
already got a
angle
super chat.
here is the fact that kids tend to get bored of certain toys pretty quickly. With just forever, but a lot of toys they'll get bored with pretty quickly, and the amount of time a video might spend on it might be, the sort of sweet spot for the amount of interest they'd have on it before moving on. Kind of like how Vine, their videos were almost exactly the amount of time that appeals to the short-term memory of the human brain.
Yeah.
That's why TikTok's really big now.
Oh my god,
The
TikTok
best
is
feature
amazing.
of that is the infiltration mode.
You know what I mean?
Easily the best.
The shit posting is it's legendary.
What's the appeal on TikTok? I've sort of like I've seen the adverts for it, obviously.
Oh,
but
there are
yeah,
two
they're
sides
not
to TikTok.
reflective.
There are two sides.
It's literally just the memes.
It's memes at this point, yeah.
Right. Okay.
The first side are the poor, ignorant people who do cringy things, unaware of how cringy they're being. Because it's really easy. All you have to do is attempt to lip sync something, and there, you've made a TikTok. Which unfortunately means a bunch of people who are probably getting into high school or something that doing cringy stuff have a one-way ticket of becoming famous on the internet for something cringy. On the other hand, they added on a duet feature, but it's really just an infiltration feature because you don't have to ask permission for the person you're doing a split screen with. And you can just take whatever clip that they did, add on a side clip, and just troll the hell out of them and everybody else and just make some hilarious meme out of it. That's
And
where
that's
where the
actually
memes
clever
come
people
from.
come in.
Oh, so it's actually musically replies then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or you don't have to, but yeah. Yeah, it's Sargon, third time's the charm. You got 2 super chats now.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay, so ever interested in live role-playing of Fallout? The English channel is just booming with yellow jackets on the other side. Why not start introducing tunnel snakes and Caesar's Legion? Well, that's a good question. I think it's probably because I don't want to be called an enemy of the state in some way, at least not yet. So that's the answer. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the French stuff in a bit, actually, because... Have you guys been following it? It's pretty mad. And Uzi Patrol says the dog is the best companion.
Yeah. What was it with the French and burning down Paris anyway?
Honestly, I'm just glad it's the French this time.
Either way, Paris must burn.
Yeah, I have an article I wanted to send. Yeah, I forgot before about the recent developments. I'll send it in the Ecclesia.
A few people in the chat have asked, yes, this is Dev. Yes, I'm still off YouTube. Thank you, though.
But you are going to get your channel back, aren't you?
I have a pretty good chance of it now. I'm over the hump.
Good.
People in chat are saying French Revolution 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
I don't think it would be the second one.
Yeah, I was going to say, they've surpassed the second one at this point.
Oh,
French
please, Napoleon had
Revolution
better
episode
approval
1.
rating than Macron.
I love them. It's going terribly for Macron, though.
Yeah, I think his popularity is all-time low and everything. So
Yeah, mid-20s.
Under 20.
And then Donald Trump's in the mid-40s, and it's like, here we go. the God Emperor wins again.
So here you talk shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Like, everyone, they always go on about Donald Trump's approval rating. It's like, dude, it's really good compared to, like, everyone else's approval rating. Like, what's Theresa May? Like, somewhere in the 20s. What's Merkel? Somewhere in the 20s. What's Macron? Somewhere in the 20s. I mean, does anyone know what Trudeau's is, in fact? Deb, do you know what Trudeau's is?
I will find one.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, is he gone? Yeah, well, if anyone knows what Trudeau's is, that would be amazing, because I can't imagine it's great.
I guess it's 23.
Higher than the American media. Isn't the American media like 10%?
Well, I have found that apparently 36% of committed voters said they would mark their box beside their local Liberal candidate. So yeah, he's going to lose the next election.
Good.
Oof.
Fucking finally.
Fucking people kind. Honestly, just kill yourself.
People kind.
Though with Trump's approval rating, they might just say he's colluding with Putin because Putin's the only other guy that has high approval rating next to Xi Jinping. So
I love the way that Trump's got the highest approval rating in the Western world at this point. Now, it's amazing.
Clearly Russian hackers.
Just of all things.
Yeah, all those Russian trolls are gone.
So, just to address Puppet Pal Clem, why do you pay prostitutes for emotionless sex when you are married? If you marry her, don't you love her? Well, I mean, how do you know it's emotionless? I might have a very deep connection with a prostitute. But no, this is obviously an alt-right lie that Kevin Logan seems to want to spread for some reason. It's weird how many citations he has from the alt-right.
He's a big fan.
He is.
Okay, I've got Trudeau's approval ratings as of June this year.
Mhm.
Apparently, he was on 32% at the time.
Oof.
The Conservatives were on 36% at the time. That may have changed since, but you know.
Yeah, it probably went down for Trudeau.
That's actually. It says that Trudeau's approval spiked as he had a clash with Trump back in June. So.
Ah, so this was a peak for Trudeau.
I believe so, judging by the article.
Oh,
So
I
the
have
Canadians
it
are
as
still
of-
cocked to them.
I don't know, what was the name of the Canadian Conservative who basically revolted against everything?
That was Maxime Bernier.
Ah, yes.
And he basically started a new conservative party because the old conservative party was just basic bitch conservatives. Like
Well,
the
weren't they
equivalent
essentially
of
compromised by the regressives?
yeah, they're basically like the equivalent of the old guard Republicans that Trump had to weed out. And so Bernier said, "I'm not going to side with this. I'm just going to start my own party."
Right, okay. Fair enough. And how's it? Didn't he get like instantly like 15% in the polls or something like that?
Yeah, he's around 20, which is pretty good for a new party.
That's amazing. On the strength of essentially one guy.
Yeah.
Has he had a bunch of people join him?
Yes, he has.
Good for him.
And Canada's a country now. If we include him, it's a country with 6 main political parties.
Wow.
So to get 20% in an approval rating.
Oh shit.
As one of 6 parties is pretty good.
Yeah. Good for him. So I've just run into a family of mole rats and they're probably going to beat my ass.
Out of curiosity, what character did you make?
Someone's just just kind of a general. So I tend to prefer the small arms and aimed shots and things like that with heavy pistols, because you can get a really good rate of fire when you've leveled up a bit. But I haven't leveled up, obviously. But someone's like, "Did you even play Fallout 1?" So yeah, like 20 years ago, probably more. Like, give me a break. I haven't loaded this game up for a long time.
That's some carbon dating right there.
Yeah, right.
Bag of poles.
I'm not even joking.
So
The last iteration I played of this, and no one else has played this, but it's a real shame because it was fucking amazing, was F Online 2238, which some guy in Poland or something essentially just ripped all the Fallout assets and then made a multiplayer isometric MMO, Fallout. And it was fucking incredible. It was just genuinely amazing. You could buy a base and everything and, start a faction and team up with your friends and stuff. And a bunch, me and my mates all used to play it. It was amazing. And then for some reason it was taken down probably... I mean, it was all free, so it wasn't like it was, anyone was making any money out of it. But, for whatever reason it was taken down. And it's a real shame because it was fucking brilliant. Yeah, actually...
Now you can pay to play Fallout 76 instead.
Yeah, exactly. Now I can pay to fucking shoot myself in the head. Brilliant.
And then get
Yeah,
banned.
worst part is it won't kill you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even die.
Wailing on you for 20 minutes.
On the plus side, at least Bethesda are going to ban me.
Probably a better fate than playing the game.
It's more like an assisted suicide as that ban.
Man, God, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I was so optimistic as well. Because, I mean, on paper you think, okay, what is it? Base building, open world, Fallout. Wow, this is sounding great. This is sounding exactly my kind of thing. Oh, you can't really shoot each other. Oh, fuck's sake. All right. Whatever.
There are a few super chats, Sargon.
Sorry, Dev, did you just call Canada a country? What's your response to that, Dev?
Sorry, I'm eating an apple.
Sounds kind of gay.
It's a territory of England.
Unless you want to hear me crunch.
Good point. But I would say that Canada's more an unoccupied space that has a term attached to it.
Return the British Empire.
If you shout "kill the gays," will you get banned for life in this game? No. I imagine that you'll. I mean, at worst, you'll probably get done for a copyright strike for ripping off their script. So, no, I think you'll be all right. Where am I here? Hello, Tough Desert Raider. Do I want to party? No, God. Why would you even ask that question?
Yeah, Sargon's a boomer. He doesn't have time for parties and your silly kid games.
Oh shit.
There are lawns to mow.
Actually, there are raiders to run away from. That wasn't a very fast run. Oh shit. Okay.
If you live your life in fear, the raiders win.
Well, I'm very much living my life in fear right now.
If
Just
you kill the
remember
raiders,
the
the
Canadian
raiders
way.
win.
If you kill your enemies, they win.
That's not actually a quote from Trudeau, is it?
No, it's a
Actually, I'm pretty
paraphrasing
sure it
of
is.
something he basically said.
What?
About, like the terrorists, essentially, like ISIS or something.
What did he actually say, like word for word? Does anyone know?
I can Google it real quick. Trudeau, stupid shit. Let's see.
You're gonna get his entire career, man.
Oh,
You're gonna have
so-
to be more specific.
So the thing that pops up first, if you Trudeau, oh, by the way, if you speak into Google and say Trudeau stupid shit, it censors shit. It's just S asterisk asterisk. But if you do Google that, the first thing that pops up is the people kind thing. So it's the different kind of stupid. But let me see.
The other one.
Kill your enemy, Trudeau. Let's see. We will grow the economy from the heart outwards.
Rags, apparently you're really quiet.
Oh, okay. I'll turn it up. I was recording earlier.
It's not that quiet.
Well, I'm just... I saw in the chat that someone said that, so...
Turn it up a little bit. I'll turn that up to a mean 80.
Oof.
Deficits
Don't get
are a
too
way of
crazy now.
measuring the growth, the kind of success that a government is actually able to create. So that's another good one.
Sorry, say that again. I missed that.
Deficits are a way of measuring the growth, the kind of success that a government is actually able to create. Yeah, fair enough, really.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Drink retard juice.
That's basically like saying the amount of money I owe represents the amount of money I'm able to make.
See, this is why you don't elect a substitute supply teacher for your president or prime minister. Just so you know, everyone listening, don't do that.
Don't elect the son of Fidel Castro.
I tell you what, I've had people go, "What? Really?" I'm like, dude, just put their faces side by side. It's unbelievably uncanny. Like, children don't normally look that much like one of their parents. You know, normally they look like a blend of both, but it's like he's a clone. And then when you put Pierre Trudeau next to him,
I don't know if it's actually a quote from Trudeau.
It's Gavin McInnes was making fun of something Trudeau said. He's the one who coined it. It's call us old-fashioned, but we think that we ought to avoid doing precisely what our enemies want us to do. They want us to elevate them, to give in to fear, to indulge in hatred, to eye one another with suspicion, and take leave of our faculties. Which is about bombing the Syrians, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's a satirical rephrasing of something he said.
Right. Okay. Well.
So it's kind of like if you're fighting the Nazis and you're like, well, we don't want to do exactly what they want us to.
Well, that's a lot less fun than Trudeau actually saying that we should surrender to ISIS. I'm sorry. I know
To be
I've missed
fair,
a few
I think the
suggests
reason that it gained so much traction is because people look at Trudeau and they're like, "Yeah, that sounds like something he'd say."
Yeah, it really does, though.
Yeah,
It
like that
really
unironically is something that I think he'd probably say.
Yeah. So Gadget Boy says, it's only fair for you to listen to him crunch cereal. I think it was an apple. For all the times he's had to spend listening to you sip tea. That's true. That is very true. The British Army is so when I complained about my depression, they ignored it. I ended up attempting suicide. What's your opinion on neglect of soldiers? I think that the army has a duty of care to their soldiers, and like if you look at any professional army in the past. The general in charge of the particular army was always very concerned about the care of the soldiers, or at least a good one was, for good reason. And it's pretty much to our own deficit that we don't. Obviously, I'm sure this needs to go. It goes without saying, but don't commit suicide. It's really not as bad as you think. And the thing is, if you commit suicide, there's one less.
Suicide's not as bad as you think.
Well, living is not as bad as you think. But if you commit suicide, there's one less sensible person in the world, and there are still lots of SJWs. Oh shit, I just went past that rant, didn't I? So you know you're basically tipping the balance in their favour. Think of it like that.
And there are a lot of people who will be very sad and upset, and they will find a difficult time to process what you have just done.
Yes.
Man, Stargun is he's so concerned about the well-being.
Well, do I have to explain that? You know, obviously your friends and family are going to be devastated. Don't commit suicide. Holy shit! Think of the
And someone's got a movie body.
Sorry,
someone's got a movie body.
Yeah, exactly.
So really, it's a double-edged sword for the economy, really.
Puppet Pal Clem, I love the way that you're sending me super chats in a way that you think is offensive to me. You can keep giving me money if you want. Thoughts on your son's opinion of you when we show him your vids, quotes aside, and the fact that you're old and playing D&D games and PC games with all these incels? Oh, I think that's a blanket judgment about people you can't make, but I'm fine with it. Like, do you think I won't have been playing these games with him when he's growing up? Do you think he's not going to know about all this?
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the incel.
I tell you, the term incel is amazing, because if you look at like male feminists, you've got to think they're not getting laid, are they? I mean, look at Kevin Logan. Is he just beating off the women? Is he?
Dude, he's a fucking sex machine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm imagining some of them do get pity fucks.
That's the thing.
I'm sure
it's all that surface area. It's a cooling mechanism because he's just on fire with the ladies.
Shit.
I'm sure there are a lot of male feminists who are getting laid a lot. The problem is they're doing it without the woman's consent. A whole lot of them end up being rapists.
Well, you were saying
that,
that,
fuck it. There's not even an autosave on this fucking thing. Fuck. Well, now I'll have to start a new character, won't I?
Welcome to 1998.
Yeah, so let's have a mass womp womp for me there. God damn it.
A new super chat.
Oh, sorry. Yesterday, a person on YouTube literally told me they want Angela Merkel to be in charge of the world. Fuck. I mean, it's just fulfilling Hitler's dream one step at a time.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, say what you want, but Hitler knew how to play the long game.
Apparently he did. I said Elon Musk and she was horrified. I don't see what would be wrong with an Elon Musk dictatorship of the world.
some anime
That
and
could be
manga
new cat
memes.
girls for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 cat girls in 10 years tops. They still
On
wouldn't date you,
Mars.
losers. But
Well,
you know,
have we
there.
debated the ethics of cat girls yet?
What would be
doesn't
unethical?
matter. I've got a friend
Well,
who's
like that
already
depends. Like, do you have to fuck
genetic
cats to
design.
make them?
Hang on, one at a time. One at a time. So, who was speaking before Rags? Sorry,
What's his face?
I wasn't looking.
I don't know.
Probably me.
Mew, you talk. That's a catty sound.
Me.
Okay, so like, what's wrong with creating cat girls?
I don't know. It depends how they're made, I guess.
Is it any more?
No,
or
I'm
less?
serious though.
Well, I don't think anyone has to actually rape a cat to make a cat girl.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you had to rape cats to make cat girls, then we start getting into the, well, does the joy the cat girl brings to the world worth the rape of the cat? And that's really questionable territory to start wading into.
Well, what if the cat is into it though?
I didn't know biology worked like that.
Well, now we have to get into cat consent, and that's another. It's just
So wait.
a quagmire of moral quandaries.
Presumably, to make a cat girl, you have to take a human embryo or something of the like and inject it into with like cat DNA. So is it also okay to create horribly deformed people? Like just take a normal person and give them Down syndrome or something?
I mean, that's sort of the question of if you know your child is going to be born with Downs, what's the ethics of giving birth or having an abortion?
Well, no, now you're injecting Down syndrome into your child. You're giving them it.
Hang
They
on,
were
hang on,
normal,
hang on,
and then you
hang on.
made them a cat.
Hang on. Why is that going to give them effectively Down syndrome?
He's counting
That's
it
retarded.
more like a
Because you're giving them
deformality
physical
rather than an enhancement.
Not all. Hold up. Not all mutations are bad.
Yeah.
So like a cat girl would be like that could be a positive thing, right?
It could be an amazing gymnast.
Very useful.
Yeah, like you could.
What if I don't
yeah,
want to be a cat?
You don't have to be a cat. What if you didn't want? You didn't. No one asked you if you wanted to be born before you were born. Okay, someone just went and did it.
Someone's just gonna go out and make a bunch of fucking cat people.
Hang on. Who's making all that noise in the background? Sorry. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
Well, there are two details that nobody's really considering about this. Like, if we're actually taking this seriously with actual science,
Absolutely,
you
we
don't
are.
actually have to put in DNA into the embryo state. You can, in fact, do gene splicing with a living adult subject and achieve success. Granted, it's
Infect,
still in
more
its
like
early
perfect.
stage.
Which
What
is
you
like
need
two
to
jokes in
do
one.
is basically put the DNA into a virus, something harmless like the common cold, inject it into the subject, and then hope that the virus will spread enough to infect the majority or all of the cells, which will cause the DNA of the virus to be injected into the cells, thus causing the mutation. So you could, in fact, have consenting adults consent to the mutation of becoming a cat girl. And then the other thing that should be kept in mind is that theoretically you may be able to reverse this as well, although it'd be harder if you came up with another virus that was made to
This is the most
target
boring
the
discussion
DNA.
about cat girls. I didn't even think was possible.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna go
I-
on to talk about
I
cat
have
rape
a-
slaves, but whatever.
Are you going?
I
Wait, are you
have a
suggesting?
friend who
Sorry.
Yeah, you got a friend. Yeah, you got a friend. I got you.
I got a friend who
Yeah.
is how do I put this? It's kind of like a combination of Elon Musk and Tony Stark.
Is he a
And
billionaire?
I have other. He will be, I'm sure of it.
Right, okay,
It's like
fair.
meeting.
Okay.
It's like meeting Bill
Don't
Gates
forget us when
or
you're rich and famous.
or somebody like that before they get famous. Of course, the guy is also incredibly autistic, but that just shows how genius he is, I guess.
I think all genius probably comes from autism at the end of the day.
Yeah, I've got a friend named Jose, and he's in computer programming. He talks about a lot of scary shit. He wants to develop weapons programs. It's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, and this guy. So he's normal compared to a lot of my other friends. But whenever my other friends get involved in a conversation with him, they always try to give him challenges to try and make their fetishes real. And he will actually break down the ways that he would try and make them real. Even though he doesn't want to, he can't deny the challenge, because they'll just say, well, you couldn't do it then. So we'll listen to like these
people.
4-hour
Wow,
speeches
pretty
on how
fast.
he would splice the genes.
Yeah, yeah.
So he just does
Have-
thought experiments.
Have you, Sargon? Have you seen we should not use the words like colonizing and frontiers when we reach Mars, because it's sensitive and it will trigger people. You know.
I did.
The
I mean,
horrible past of colonization.
They're afraid that we're going to subjugate the Martians.
yeah. I mean, we need to be
Humanity
sensitive to the
first.
native Martians, don't we?
Yeah, I was
So
about to ask, who exactly are we offending on Mars?
I mean, okay, so there is a genuine concern that if there is microbial life on Mars, we need to be careful about that.
Yeah.
But that's not exactly the same
we
as
don't want to offend it,
raping
right?
and murdering natives. You know?
Yeah.
well,
Death to
sorry,
the
did you
Xeno
see that,
scum.
did you
Yes,
see
that
tiny
too.
Video
Well,
yesterday
it's more
where they
like-
found a cat video that got taken down.
What, a
What's
cat
it
video
doing
that
as
got
Zeke
taken down?
There was like a cat video that somebody had that went viral where he was basically there's this ugly ass cat and it looks really freaky and he was laughing at this really ugly cat, and apparently it got taken down for like being demeaning to the cat. It's on
way.
Tim Pool's, his second channel, I think, and he was talking about it. And so there's if we're not careful, there will be precedent to make non-sentient creatures offended. So that is a thing.
We already have PETA, so that's already there.
Oh God.
You remember the monkey selfie fight? The monkey tried to copyright to the selfie image.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So
What was the result of that? I can't remember what happened with that one.
Give me 2 seconds here, 'cause I can't remember either.
I'm fairly
In the
sure
meantime, I'm just going to
monkey
read.
won.
I'm going to read some of these super chats.
Super chats.
Turn all the traps into cat girls. We need to boost our genetics tech on adults. Correct.
That's a plan. That's a
It's easy to make cat lady. If you attach to the common cold, it would spread, and it would be an epidemic like the cat girl virus. God, this is getting advanced.
oh boy.
It is theoretically possible.
I really hope Elon Musk isn't listening. I don't want to catch this. Like, this is the problem. Like, let's create a virus that does something. Oh yeah, that's something we're going to control, isn't it?
Sargon of a cat.
The idea is to make it a really, really weak virus, like something you use for an inoculation.
Right. Okay.
But if you screwed up, you could make a genetic weapon.
Yeah, that's the. I mean,
So
honestly,
the cat plague.
I'm very nervous about all of that sort of stuff.
Do that and
I'm
deploy
all
it in
for
Japan.
it.
I believe you
We
can
need to
do viruses.
force,
Oh, sorry.
We need to force the augmentation of mankind in order to pursue our true potential. If you go by the theory of evolution, you know, it takes millions and millions of years, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I'm going to be around that long to see it. So the best case scenario would be to make some kind of, not artificial selection, but artificial selection of genes through gene splicing to force the augmentation and evolution of mankind.
Did any of you guys see the first ever genetic modified baby was born in Japan? They
Oh yeah, I heard.
or
Yeah.
China. Yes.
Was it a cat girl?
So what did
They
the
went out
Japanese
and
do?
the coordinator.
They
Chinese.
It was Chinese. Sorry, they augmented out the HIV virus of a
Oh, I
Japanese
heard
baby,
about that.
or a Chinese baby.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's the same
the
friend of
sci-
mine that told me about that.
Yeah,
No,
but that'll
the
put
scientists
trade
got
conventions out
fired.
of business.
I saw this. They fired the scientist and put him on leave or something. So they're probably not planning, or at least not officially,
Well-
super commies.
Hush hush, big pharma is a big deal. You know what I mean? They make a lot of money off of drugs.
Oh no, Anubis is CIA posting again.
Let me just finish these super chats before I forget them. Why do I hate Byzantium? You've spoken about the late Romans on many occasions, but you've never said anything that wasn't negative. Honestly, because the Byzantines were mostly degenerates.
No,
they
said in this server.
Sargon, the moral fag here.
Yeah. Let me moral fag for a minute, right? No, the Byzantines are very interesting. I don't know why I've not said anything about them. I suppose. I mean, they lasted for a very long time, so I guess you've got to have something specific. Because the thing with the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire, there are like very easily defined points at which there are massive changes, and these are things that people always talk about. But with the Byzantines, things go on for such a long time, and it's very complicated. So, so I guess I just haven't had much to say. I mean, like Basil, you get people like Basil the Bulgar Slayer and stuff, and they're pretty fucking amazing. God, I'm such a bad shot. I didn't even alert the Rad Scorpions to my presence. How pathetic is that?
Bulge Slayer? Ooh.
Basil the Bulgar Slayer. He blinded like 10,000 Bulgars or something. He was an absolute maniac.
Really, he was that ugly?
No, he was that much of a psycho. But the Bulgars were obviously terrorizing the Byzantines, and he got the better of them.
Oh yeah, it's obvious that's what the Bulgars did.
Yeah.
I was like a mad lad.
But I tell you, Byzantine diplomacy was amazing. Absolutely amazing. A retro cat virus would have many benefits, ranging from agility to night vision. However, it would likely reduce the total lifespan, as now be affected by cat illnesses. Multiple breasts is worth it. So, did anyone see this fucking thing of this woman with... Wow. Yeah, but there's a woman who has actually got 3 tits. Because she got, obviously, like, surgically altered.
Like 3 tits? Not 3 sets of 2.
Not 3 sets of 2, but, like from Total Recall style,
I was about to say
a lot of chafing.
Cosplay.
I know there's a 3 nipple mutation that people tend to come across every now and then.
No. This is unironically 3 breasts. But the thing is, right, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because I'm some sort of prude, but I'm looking at it thinking, that's not exactly hot. It's kind of weird.
Might cause some spine issues.
They weren't that big,
how
actually.
big those suckers are, man.
Yeah, they weren't that big.
Yeah, I mean, if they, yeah.
The 2 genetic enhancements we should really be focusing on most of all should be focusing on the innate ability for humans to regenerate that's been suppressed due to our other ability of scarification, and fighting off the aging process by adding in, keep forgetting the name of it, but it's the stuff that keeps our DNA together that splits in half every time our cells replicate.
RNA?
Telomeres, yeah.
No, I think it's something else.
It's at the ends.
yeah.
Yeah, it's at the ends.
Yeah, it's the telomeres.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well,
Just
they've
inject
made
more.
great progress in that, so hopefully
Yeah, I can
here in
understand.
the next like 20 years we'll have breakthroughs on it.
I
Yeah,
understand
the cat girls, here we come.
caution around it because the only cells we know of that don't lose any of that are cancer cells. So if you screw it up, you could just give somebody horrible entire body cancer. So I can
Become
understand why
immortal
they're
by embracing
hesitant.
cancer.
But on the
Sounds
other
like the average
hand,
format player.
literal immortality, or at least biological immortality.
Isn't
So-
there a kind of jellyfish that is effectively immortal?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
there is.
yes.
Yeah, they can revert back to like their polyp stage or something.
If they get hurt, then they kind of like go to this stage when they just become kind of like sort of a plant thingy, regenerate, and then they return. And
We've
so, well,
already. Oh, sorry.
the thing
Go
is,
ahead.
like, you can kill them obviously, but if they're not disturbed, then yeah, they can live forever. So yeah, theoretically, it's possible for these simple creatures.
So the jellyfish will see the cat girls before we do.
Unless we find a way of giving ourselves biological immortality.
We shall become the jellyfish.
I'll tell you what, right? I'm actually really sick of the whole like transhumanism thing. It's like, oh, we'll upload our brains to computers. And it's like, okay, but you are your brain. You guys know that, right? I mean, like, without your brain,
there is,
you're nothing.
Sorry. There is, apparently from what I understand, there is no way to cut and paste your brain into a machine. It has to be copy and paste. So
Yeah.
you can make something that is like you live on, but
Yeah.
you probably won't live on. Not in a
Oh, what
machine.
the fuck is this?
The biggest
Someone's a
problem
great game
is
about
that the brain uses a different kind of coding, and then I don't feel like I'm my brain so much as I am the software on my brain. But if you
You are
can't
your
cut
brain.
and paste, you're just making
Yeah.
a duplicate.
I'm sorry to break this to you, but you are your brain.
Yeah.
Brain's the hardware that stores the mind.
Well, it's the
Is there
teleportation.
any
argument.
evidence of a mind existing outside the brain?
No. This is actually the
No.
This is the great question that Descartes was struggling with, and essentially, a philosopher called Strawson in the early 20th basically blew him the fuck out completely by pointing out that you can't even refer to someone's mind without referring to that person, and if you think you're referring to someone's mind, how do you know you're only referring to one mind? How do you know you're not referring to 1,000 minds? You need the qualifier of the person to be able to identify the mind. So essentially, yeah, there's no separating a person from their mind.
I agree.
So I'm completely left field. I have a completely different take on all this. So.
Another super
Ultimately-
chats are gone.
Oh, sorry.
The brain is like a combination processor, CPU, and hard drive. It stores memories and processing capabilities. However, I'd say that the program itself would be the mind that runs on that system.
I think
We don't have
putting a
any
lot
way
of
of
faith in
transferring
the computer analogies might lead you in the
Yeah.
wrong direction.
I think that what we consider to be consciousness is the product of like more than the sum of its individual components. Like, you know, when you put a computer together, now you have functionality. The consciousness itself is the result of the biological hardware. So there's no point trying to separate one from the other. But the point is, and this is the thing about I hate about the transhumanist stuff. They're like, I'm going to upload my brain. It's like, yeah, but then it won't be your brain. Then it'll be just an exact replica of your brain. And your brain is constantly changing because of the sensory input it receives, like all day, every day. The changes are tiny, obviously, and they're all natural. But as soon as you do this, the next, fraction of a second, however thin slice of time we can measure,
It's gotta be someone new.
it's different, yeah. And it becomes exponentially more different. And I mean, I don't even know what the sensory input to the fictional simulated brain is going to be like. So, I mean, it's bollocks.
Well,
it's just bollocks.
Would you want to put your brain inside of a new body then, like a mechanical body that is immortal?
Well, in a jar in a robot, yeah, I could get down with that.
Or like if you could plug your brain in as the CPU of a computer.
Yeah, I'd be.
Well, even if it wasn't me, it would still be someone, and I would care about that person.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is not copy pasting. I'm talking about using your
If it
brain.
was me,
as
like
the
my
center of
consciousness or
making
whatever it
something.
is, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, physically
That's
moving
my
the
take
brain.
on-
I would get
MS
bored, but
brought up-
that's
MS brought up that game Soma. I don't know how many people.
Oh,
Soma's
yeah.
the best game ever made, and if you haven't all
Dude.
played it, you're doing a disservice.
Rags,
Oh,
Soma
it's
is
so
not a
good.
horror game.
It's
Oh, yeah,
so
that's
right.
let me
Make that a horror game,
let me
because
catch
I
up with
bet.
these a sec. Hang on. The war against the EU has begun in Paris. Take to the streets and vanquish your overlords, my brothers. 1776 has begun. Gas the boomers. Oh man, I want to get gassed.
That's not 1776.
But the thing with Paris, I mean, like, did anyone see the video of the snipers on the rooftop?
What?
There was
Which one?
literally
Yeah.
in the Paris riots, someone had taken cell phone footage of snipers on the rooftops and put it on Twitter. I shared it on my Twitter actually.
Are they like federal agents or?
I guess, yeah. I mean, they look like they were.
Police ready just in case if people start getting uppity.
I don't know. That's the thing. Apparently, and the thing is, like Tim Pool sent it to me, and he was like, people are telling him that it's normal for them to have them. I'm thinking, fucking hell, how bad is it in Paris if having government snipers on the rooftops is just fucking normal?
Well, we can't let the citizens have. You can't have an armed populace. That would be terrible.
If that is normal, that says something about how little we hear about these sorts of things.
Oh yeah, I mean,
What
like,
was the event?
And that's the scary
Because
part.
There are certain events in America where there are government snipers, but that's typically when you have like a governor or the president showing up at some point.
Yeah, a public speaker that
Yeah.
could be assassinated. Yeah.
Yeah, like it isn't like Sunday, isn't the
Gotta protect the church.
Is there an event where when this footage was taken?
oh yeah, it's the riots today and yesterday.
Oh, the event was the riot.
Yeah, and there were snipers on the rooftops and stuff. And it's like,
maybe it's a Sunday.
yeah, maybe it
Welcome
was
to
just a
France.
Sunday in Paris. Yeah. So the whole thing, like, as I haven't actually followed it very closely, because I'm essentially waiting for everyone to figure out what the fuck went on, so I don't have to. But I mean, it seems to have been like working men versus the government, right?
Fuel prices.
Yeah, over fuel prices, obviously. But I've heard people say it's like a middle class revolution. Is that correct or what?
Sounds like any other revolution.
Well, I suppose, but like I just don't know.
Well, French revolutions have a pretty good history thus far, so I wouldn't worry.
Oh yeah. Super Gub says you could slowly use partial cybernetic enhancements to maintain physical continuity until your brain is fully mechanical/electronic.
I've heard that, but that has not been proven as far as I know.
But that's the old Jason and the Argonauts thing, isn't it? Is this is this the Argo? Theseus. Sorry, yeah, the ship Theseus. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, because saying the possessive form of Theseus is just messy and
okay,
sure. Do that to yourself, really. Theseus.
Yeah, but it's the eternal question: is it the same ship? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. That's why we still talk about it.
Just go full Ghost in the Shell. I mean, we can all be Scarlett Johansson and probably be better actors. Yeah, Chip over noise.
I'll just be a
we got to go with the anime on that. We can't go with the live action shit.
I think that was pretty good.
I just started that anime.
The anime.
Although I never really had a problem with Scarlett Johansson playing the Major, because if you understand the entire world, cyber bodies are made up to be whatever they want to be. So it doesn't matter what the outside is; it's what the inside is. Outside she could be Scarlett Johansson, but inside
it's whitewashing.
Yeah, well, you tell me, if you didn't give the Japanese a chance to play cyber bodies, they wouldn't show up with cat girls.
God, the Japanese are going to create some degenerate stuff coming into the future, man.
They've already gotten rid of the inbreeding gene with the mouse shit. Have you thought that?
Have they?
Like they've isolated the gene that mice have so that they can inbreed, and they're planning on putting it in their own population because of the.
Oh, good.
Well, because they want to fuck their sisters.
Look, now they can fuck their sisters with a little less.
It has to do with the population. Like they're losing many natives.
Yeah,
they're so xenophobic. They'd rather do incest than breed with other people.
They also have a very declining birth rate in general.
Well, they are allowing 400,000 migrants a year in now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing it for the migrants.
They're 400,000 economic workers. Whoever can come in and work. You can't just come in and suck off the government.
But it's really limited. You have to. You can only work at the specific job you're assigned to. You have almost no freedoms. Yeah, it's really limited.
Okay, but getting back to the incest thing, right? Japan's got like 120 million people. They're not at risk of mass incest.
No, but it's in the family is the thing. It's like you think of it as like the big, but if you look at the culture, if you look at the people, families, then it's more, like in Japanese society, they're very close to brothers and sisters.
They're essentially following the Pakistan model, right? Okay.
Send the mouse gene into Pakistan,
Stupid sexy sisters.
It's really not far from wrong. That assumption, it's really not that far from wrong.
God.
Realistically, you only need 10,000 male-female pairs of humans in order to continue on the human race without inbreeding.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, sometimes you're really attracted to your family members in Pakistan. So, and in Japan, apparently. So sometimes you really have to figure out how we can get rid of this problem of inbreeding.
Well, in Japan, the culture is weird because, like, they shower with their whole family, takes baths.
That's just economical, right there.
Their coworkers take baths together. You take a bath with my dad took a bath. He went to Japan for a business trip, and he had to bathe with the boss and all the people and stuff.
No.
Yes.
To be fair, you're expected to shower first.
Yeah.
No way.
Really?
The public bathrooms.
Yeah, there are public baths.
You see it in
anime.
First. Yeah.
Nudity is viewed differently in Japan.
Well, I tell you what, 2 bombs just wasn't enough.
I want my dad to be proud of my big ass dick.
Like we all do, but I don't have to have a shower with my boss. Fucking hell.
As John said, it looks like you're getting a raise.
Well, look, are you seriously suggesting there aren't some major Harvey Weinstein problems in Japan with that kind of arrangement?
Oh, yeah. There are.
Yeah, I bet they fucking are.
like nothing.
Yeah,
They're just a lot more quiet about it.
And it's
Probably
just,
socially accepted. over
There's
there.
major problems with Japanese family households. It's kind of a tragedy.
I think we could just stop with "there's major problems with Japanese" and just ended it there. Like, holy shit! Sorry, I should probably get
Another
these super chats. hang on.
chat. Yeah.
There's a video called "You Are Two" that goes into exactly how you're two beings in one whole brain by CPG Grey, CGP Grey. Oh, okay. I'll take that. That sounds interesting.
Am I two
Is
genders
that
in
the
one brain?
left brain, right brain thing?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. And
Fun
you have
fact.
those super chats are gone.
Yeah,
You can remove half
Leif-
the brain of a newborn and they'll survive.
What?
No,
Yeah, it's true.
well,
The other half of the brain does double the work and adapts around it, but it has to be like right about the newborn stage, or else the brain's too old to adapt.
Well, you know what's interesting? I saw it must have been like a mini documentary or
Brains
something.
are like Jedi.
And then about this there was a medical condition that effectively prevented a person's brain from developing because I don't know, like blood flow or something to the brainstem, something like that. And so the brain wasn't like the full brain that fills the head. The head was effectively empty with a layer of brain cells around the brain stem that was, thin layer. So it was a medical condition that nobody knew this person had. This person was at university when they discovered it.
Holy shit.
Like, they didn't have a fucking brain. Google it, seriously.
Look, Sargon, that says more about university than it says
Sargon.
I know!
No-brainer.
They
I
were
don't-
probably
Studying
studying
women's
gender
studies?
studies.
Well, yeah, exactly. He was doing gender studies. No, I don't know what he was doing. And he was probably doing like fucking physics or something. But like, seriously, it was like, imagine the doctor coming out to go, you haven't got a brain, right? You'd be like, all right, thanks.
I was like, that explains a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But don't be a dick. But he's like, no,
That's why
literally.
my dad was right this whole fucking time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unironically, like,
It's this
what would you
fucking,
do? What do you do with that information? You're just living your life, and they're like, there's nothing in your head, by the way. Oh, okay.
Sargon,
Be
you
like,
missed a super
look
chat
at what
and
I managed to do
two or
with
three
half a
new
brain.
ones.
Sorry, say that again.
You missed a super chat and the three new ones.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm putting an image in Ecclesia about this.
But unironically, I didn't know whether I should have been sad for the person or like thrilled that they'd managed to live a full life with a thin layer of brain cells, or that they found themselves with a YouTube channel.
I mean, it looks like they managed to do everything a normal person can do, and they didn't even notice it. So I'd probably be happy for them because they could just make money off of this now.
Yeah.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, God Howard, incest is a
Yes.
family affair. Incest is best kept family. Man, these are awful dad jokes, God. I love your avatar though. Leaf Diltoro, been watching since 2015 or so, never been a patron, thought I'd tip you, keep it up and subscribe to Pewds. Thanks, man. Stealth Creations, I'll bet that when asking about getting a lift in the job field, employees weren't meaning in the way in the baths. Yeah, dude, like, God, I can't even imagine. I mean, and the thing is, like, most of the bosses I've had have been spectacularly unattractive. So why would I want to bathe with them? This week in Fallout, yeah.
Because it makes you feel more attractive when you're next to them.
I probably would feel more attractive next to them, I'm not going to lie.
That's why every group of girls always has the ugly one.
Oof.
I'd say it makes it easier to climb the
It's
corporate
true,
ladder.
it's true.
Yeah, just a little tug here and there, just it'll get you up the corporate ladder.
All modern AI is just a result of what software engineers learned from neural synapse models from MRI data. I'd contend Jarvis-esque general-purpose AI will be led by the open source aimed at thought work, lawyers, CPAs, etc.
Wait, thought work.
Yeah, as in being a lawyer or something like that, thought work, yeah. I actually don't know very much about AI itself, so I couldn't tell you. But it's very interesting. I'm just a total non-entity when it comes to commenting on it.
Well, yeah, I played Deus Ex once. Yeah, call me something of an expert.
The Man Without a Brain was a civil servant with an IQ of 75 and he was French. I don't think this one was French. I think there was another one.
Was he an NPC?
No, but he was unironically at university. Which, as you say,
Brain is French.
I posted the scan of the French guy in Ecclesia, and it's pretty bad.
Okay, let me have a quick look.
It's your head, Jack.
Well,
Man
an
discovered
IQ
without
of
brain. Join Sargon's D&D.
He?
What?
An IQ of 75 isn't really well. It's low, but it's not severely low. It's like you
It's-
can live with it.
Yeah.
Like I think under 50, it's like you're a kid and you can't learn basic things. So yeah.
I'm not sure that's the one I'm thinking of. I'm sure it was an English speaking person, not French, and it wasn't. They didn't have like that's a full brain. This person didn't have a full brain. They had like cells on their brainstem or something. I mean, it was years ago I saw it. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. I mean, what do you say to that person? I mean, what do they know? They've only got an IQ of 75. They're not going to understand, are they?
Is like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have the best excuse for everything ever. Oh, sorry, I don't have a brain. He's like, oh, well, okay, that's fair enough then. We'll carry on.
Well, he's gonna survive the zombie apocalypse.
Matt, there's a lot of people these days who would survive the zombie apocalypse.
Well, because it will only occur for a few months, depending on where you live. So yeah, just
a
find
question.
a safe place. Maybe probably the military will crush it in the first week. So yeah.
The military can't crush a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it can. I saw a thing on that. Just
Well, yeah, the military has guns.
No, but the zombies aren't an army.
Well, they just march at you. We shoot them. I think what we learned at Stalingrad. They may have a lot of people, but now we have nukes. So
There's Democrats
you wouldn't
threatening
use
to.
nukes, you just.
There's a Democrat threatening to nuke the population if they don't turn their guns over.
I remember that.
I love that.
Crushes.
I love that tweet so much. Like, dude,
I mean,
you're
way to
not
justify the
nuking
second
gun
one.
owners. It's never gonna fucking happen, you moron. What were you saying?
Probably could. Probably would if he could, though.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that.
Just to say, is Fallout 76 meant to be set in the year 1976, or is there no kind of historical?
Well, you might think that based on the graphics, but no,
So on that note, Rags, how's your review coming along? How are you? Because you're making a review of it, aren't you? So
I've got a bunch of notes and I got clips. And last night I went through a bunch of clips and put tags on them so that while I go through my review, I can get to them whenever I need them.
But like, can you give us an impression of the game, like so
The
far?
game is. It's got some good additions. Like there are some legitimately good things that they've kind of added to what's essentially the new Fallout, the Fallout 4 style, whatever Bethesda's kind of going for.
Are we going to
now
call it
with
like
their
the
open
canon
world
or
games.
something?
I wouldn't say canon, just kind of. I mean, talking about purely in-game mechanics. There's a lot of good, neat little additions. A lot of the changes I think are kind of poor, but there are some good things that they've added as well.
Right. Okay.
But for the most part, they're all buried underneath these terrible, horrible design decisions, and it's just a mess. The game is just a mess.
It does look like an absolute catastrophe. I mean, I played like 2 hours of it or something when I got a beta key, and then you had to re-download another 50 gigs, and you were gonna have to pay for it. And I was like, oh fuck
Well,
this.
you guys saw that they literally copied and pasted from Skyrim. Like the final ball, the Scorched Queen
Yeah.
is a direct take from Skyrim.
It's a reskinned dragon, isn't it?
Yeah, it is exactly what it is. And then they took code from Fallout 4, didn't change. There was a lot of like hints and suggestions to Fallout 4, literally saying like Fallout 4 this, Fallout 4 that, placements of certain NPCs that were
Yeah.
named and so on. They didn't change any of it. They just literally copied and pasted into 76.
That's unbelievably lazy.
Actually, a good idea for a video somebody might want to do is how a lot of the folks who've been in the gaming industry for a while now have been getting pushed out. Another friend of mine knows that he dug up like a whole bunch of these articles, and he showed me like I think a dozen cases of people just being pushed out within the past year.
What for? Like, what reasons?
Looked like some kind of cleanse or something that they were trying to do.
purge?
Because a lot of the folks who were getting pushed out were people who actually valued game design rather than ideology.
Oh, it's those goober gators, right?
Yeah, the Goober Gombers are ruining the games for the women's. Because
Okay.
I remember how women weren't allowed to play video games before, and now they can, which is why they're not selling.
So the someone just said the Australians lost the war against the emus in 1932, so I wouldn't be so sure about the army subduing a zombie apocalypse.
No, those are Australians.
Well,
That was Australia.
it depends how the zombies are created. If it's like everyone who dies becomes a zombie, then there is no way an army can deal with that.
Yeah, I think there absolutely is.
How?
Because zombies
I
are
mean,
stupid.
you could enforce like mandatory cremations.
Yeah, like what
granted,
if you
it'd be
just
really hard to deal
flamethrower?
with. The
Because if
initial
there's
shock.
anything that Fallout 76 has taught me, it's that it doesn't matter how big and strong you are. If you're retarded, I can kill you.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, all of your soldiers are zombies, and if it's like, I guess, like Walking Dead rules, where if you get bitten, you turn
Potential.
if you get bitten when you turn
Are you assuming that there's a
into
ground
zombie.
zero and like it spreads, or are we assuming it just randomly happens to random people?
Well, so here's what
Yeah,
you do.
death.
You just give everybody a flamethrower and you put a bomb collar on everybody's neck.
you don't.
Oh, that's
you
going
don't-
well.
No, flamethrowers are terrible disease
I
design.
mean, if you get humanity pushed to the brink, people will do some pretty extreme stuff to
Dude,
make
people
the
do it-
species survive.
People do extreme stuff when the power goes out for a week. If they don't have a cell phone for a month, forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you really were in a scenario, if humanity was in a scenario where anybody who dies becomes a zombie, like
They would end up
just straight
killing-
Die,
They
we
would kill
then
each
once
other
you
first.
once you died, they would just burn the body.
Yeah, exactly. You would immediately go like in medieval times, a lot of the original myths of vampires was that somebody died, probably made some deal with the devil or whatever it was, and gets out of their casket, feeds on some people, goes back to their casket, and so what they'd do is they'd track down the corpse, chop off the head, and then drive a stake through the heart of the corpse. People have been doing this whole thing of killing corpses even when the zombies didn't even exist for a long ass time. Add in an actual, real, palpable, physical threat that is absolutely undeniable and provable, then yeah, people are gonna be killing corpses before they even turn into zombies.
Killing corpses.
Yeah.
It sounds
It
great.
would have been seen then as it would have been seen as
Sargon would
cleansing.
believe that
It would have been seen as cleansing the
listen,
corpse.
Kansas
rather
had to
than-
recall license plates after issuing hundreds that spelled out a racial slur. Imagine what was that slur? Can you think?
Oh, I dread to think what that slur
KIK.
was.
Okay. Well,
NIG.
it was Jap.
JAP.
God. Oh my God.
Japs.
Which is offensive to Japanese Americans.
Well, it's certainly offensive to leftists who think they think for Japanese Americans.
Oh yeah.
Just
The
just
person
never
that actually
mention monkeys.
complained about it was from California. I saw a Kansas license plate in California with it and complained.
Oy vey, shut it down.
Just to say, have any of you seen the movie Falling Down?
Oh, yeah.
by,
Yeah, great movie.
I swear, when I first saw that film, I just was kicking myself that why didn't I see this film sooner?
Who the fuck doesn't want to walk into a McDonald's with a bag of guns?
Right.
My burger looks like shit.
This is not what was on your menu.
Your first
This is
mistake
clearly
was
a
walking
burger.
into a McDonald's.
Yeah, it's true.
Well,
If you're getting your
what
food
was it?
there, you're wrong.
They made a joke that if McDonald's marketing is good enough, they make you eat your own shit.
They probably
Well, if it looked like it does on their fucking menus, then maybe I would.
You
But
know,
I don't
you
think the
believe
real
this?
thing doesn't normally turn out like that.
There's an acceptable amount of rat feces, and it's pretty high, that's allowed in all processed foods.
Yeah.
That
I
is
don't
just,
go to
it's,
most fast food
We
places.
breathe
Yeah, but
we breathe particles of shit every day. I don't see why that's a big deal.
yeah, but the number is rather high. I don't remember what the number was, and I don't have a browser open right now, but it was surprisingly high enough for me to be surprised about it.
Well, I don't know exactly what my expectations are on the acceptable amount of rat poo, so I don't know if I'd be surprised or not.
Just don't eat fast food. Problem
Well,
solved.
it's in all food. Like all food regulatory agencies have like an
Except for
accept
Wendy's,
button.
always fresh, never frozen.
What I like about the film in general. Who was the director who directed that film? I can't remember his name. He was responsible for doing the Batman and Robin film. That guy's name who directed Falling Down.
Burton?
Tim Burton?
Oh, it wasn't Burton. It was Joel.
Schumer?
Joel
It might be.
Schumacher.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher. Yeah, Joel Schumacher. What he did with that film was that he conveyed each scene perfectly for a reactionary audience, and I think that's what kind of like psychology he was trying to implement in that film, and why it's so today, because he conveys, as the main character meets each colorful individual, they do it. The dialogue and the script is almost made going to happen. You can relate so closely to like the social politics character brings up in in LA.
So what was the
brilliant.
film
Which
again?
movie is this?
Down. Yeah, it's the one.
Sorry, I didn't hear you there. Say again. What was the film?
It's the film called Falling Down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
It's,
I don't know why I thought we were talking about Batman for a second.
Oh no, no,
Because
no! I
it's
was
the same guy who made it.
Okay.
Made that film. I think it's quite funny how that film will be so relatable for the upcoming decades to come.
Hmm.
You know, if things carry on as they are now.
Well,
Just
dude,
getting worse
it's
and
like
worse
with all
and
these fucking shootings and stuff. It's just like, I mean, what was the one the other day? There was an active shooter somewhere in a hospital or something, and like it just goes past because it happens so damn often.
What,
Yeah.
Walter Reed?
Sorry.
The Walter Reed active shooter report, which was actually a drill that got was an active drill, and it got misreported.
That's interesting. I bet the conspiracy theorists are going wild.
You know, they give the school district in a town in Pennsylvania is giving each classroom a bucket of rocks to throw at potential shooters.
Oh yeah,
A bucket of rocks.
I swear to God, a bucket. I swear to
Well,
God.
okay, hang on. That's actually fantastic because that completely validates the scare of the migrants trying to use rocks to get across the border. Like if rocks are dangerous.
Yeah, but
There
that
was-
seems,
there was
that
just
seems
a-
to me like you're saying to the migrants here, if you see a gay person, you know what to do.
There was
just
just
like the Muslims.
there was just a border patrol agent, a Mexican border patrol agent that was killed by an ambush of rock throwing migrants not that long, like 2 days ago.
Yeah, no, it was in 2017.
maybe
You know
he
what the
said
problem is with
Jehovah.
migrants? They don't
No,
have
there
enough
was another one.
box of
Oh, was there?
rocks.
Oh, right, there was another one. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Well, there we go. Point demonstrated.
Oh, we've known rocks have been deadly since biblical times.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
stoner.
obviously.
Stoning.
David and Goliath much?
Stone the adulterer. You know.
Although Monty Python did it best.
New recent discovery shows that rocks are dangerous.
I think we should ban assault rocks. Just saying.
Let me get through a
That
couple of
bucket
these.
sounds like it's a high capacity bucket of rocks.
Let me get through some of these super chats, chaps.
Definitely need to ban boulders.
So Leon says, "Help Sturmfuhrer Pewds beat Commissar T series." I'm firmly in Pewds' camp on this one, but obviously subscribe to PewDiePie. Can a trap another trap, and would that be gay? Yes.
Yes.
Easy
Absolutely.
answer.
Black hole of gayness.
You should read World War Z. It shows how the military is shit at fighting the zombies. Yeah, I bet it is. But the thing is, I tried watching the film, and the film was fucking awful. So
The film has very little to do with the book.
right,
It has
okay.
basically
You have to
nothing
watch
do
the
with
movie
book.
before you read the book. That's the only way you'll enjoy the movie. Is if you don't know the book, because when you
But
know the book,
I'm
you realize,
firmly
like,
in the camp.
fuck.
That
Yeah, but I didn't know
military
the
would
I didn't know the
decimate
book either, and
zombies,
it was shit.
and it wouldn't even be close.
But
Well, the
my
book's much better.
right,
The
okay.
guys who made the movie pretty much just looked at the back of the book and said, "Huh, this gives me an idea for a movie."
Yeah.
Really, I've heard that actually. So, well, not that exactly.
World
but
War
it's-
Z. Well, if that's not a game already, I'll make it a movie.
Ooh, I've leveled
They
up.
just basically
It's about
they
as
bought
bad as those video game movies.
the, they bought the title of the book. That's it. That's what
Yeah.
it has in common.
But yeah, World War Z, the book, actually goes through the kind of military political strategies nations would actively and realistically use to deal with that kind of hypothetical threat, and the kind of panic that would ensue, as well as the cultural changes and responses to said panic.
Right. Okay. And what sort of? Well, I mean, obviously, like the military would start freaking out, but like, what were the cultural changes they were predicting?
Well, for one, you got a lot more of a Second Amendment sort of culture around the world, simply because
You have to, don't you?
the governments and police forces can't all be there. So
Yeah.
and there's also the encroaching threat of the zombies. So that just out of necessity sort of pops up. And then from the military strategies, they actually did a bit of a ethically shady but ultimately necessary thing, where there were too many refugees from fallen cities to actually hold in safe points, so they made several false safe points and designated smaller pockets of refugees into those areas as basically distractions and bait for the zombies, which they would then lay ambushes upon.
Well, thank you very much, government.
Yeah, not like Denmark did that, if I recall right from the book.
I don't recall who did it first, but everybody ended up adapting it.
Yeah, like they basically pulled back to the Rocky Mountains in the U.S. And my big problem was that they started using box squares from Napoleonic style tactics, and it's like, no, because you'd form circles before they form squares.
Well,
yeah, that's how modern militaries work, right? Fucking.
Yeah, in squares.
Nuke it from orbit.
Yeah, but you're not fighting another modern military.
Do they? Yeah, but modern militaries are mobile. That's the massive advantage the Americans had over the Vietnamese.
I'm just imagining some Marine with an assault rifle just riding in on a horse.
And a helicopter is more likely, I think.
But that would unironically be an advantage against zombies.
What, a horse?
Yeah, but
yeah,
the
being
honor
on a horse.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see the video of that coffee? What's that coffee company owned by veterans? They mounted a Vulcan minigun to a
Black Rifle
Toyota.
Coffee Company.
Black Rifle Coffee. Yeah, they mounted a Vulcan minigun, one of the most powerful miniguns in the world, to a Toyota Prius and just let it rip. It was
20 millimeter, $27 per shot.
Yeah, amazing.
It fires like
you get 10 of those. Minute. You get 10 of those, you got a perfect army. Fuel efficient, much firepower.
Yeah, but the problem is that like they're trying to shoot like cell phones, like
it's not very ammo efficient.
Can't hit it.
You just don't need that much ammunition, that much firepower. I think World War One proved how effective a normal machine gun is. As much as I love a Vulcan gun, you just don't need that much.
Interlocking machine gun.
Surely tanks are going to become incredibly useful during the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah,
no doubt. The only
that's the thing. Zombies can't. They can't do anything with tank. There's nothing they can do to a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they surround the tank.
You know,
and then what? And then what?
Everybody inside the tank dies because the
Why would they die?
Because they run out of ammo. They run out of water.
They run out of ammo. You go away. And then you turn around and you
could probably
drive
the tank over the zombies.
The zombies can literally do nothing to a tank.
Yeah, but what happens when you run out of diesel?
Why do you obviously pay for that? You don't go into the middle of the zombie horde thing with your not gas.
Well, you don't. The zombies are going to come for you. You know, you start making noise.
And you shoot them when they're walking towards you.
But if there's just billions of zombies,
there's not billions of zombies walking towards you at once.
I'm just envisioning one tank left in the entire world, just fending off billions of zombies.
You must be literally
a single tank.
That would make a good movie.
But there's only one good way to deal with
Wasn't that the plot? Wasn't that the plot of that one video game where you're in a mall, and in the end you're like fighting off the world zombies with the tank?
Twilight did it first. Not Twilight. Yeah, it was Twilight Zone that did it first. It's actually the thing that inspired modern zombies was an episode of the Twilight Zone, where this man was the last human on Earth, and all around him were vampires.
It reminds me of that
they're a lot more like zombies, but zombies didn't really become, at least modern zombies didn't become a thing yet. So it was just this one episode, this one guy going from bunkered up house to bunkered up house, and just how he lived that inspired the entire genre.
Why are we
Wait,
even
wait,
talking about
Sargon,
being
yeah,
on the
you
ground?
You
Why
got
not-
new
Like,
super
people actually
chats,
think that the military
Sargon.
would lose the
Okay,
vote.
I'll do them in a second. Sorry.
Why not just talk about spaceships, man? Like the whole planet's swallowed by zombies. Just fucking go up to space.
Well, see, this is the thing, my dude. You have to remember, there's only one genuine way to actually deal with the zombie apocalypse, and that is you have to take it from the perspective of Warhammer 40k, and that is
Oh,
you
God.
must exterminatus
Exterminatus.
the decrepit forces of Nurgle.
Exterminatus.
Right. Let me
The problem is, this is Holy Terra. Nobody's gonna exterminatus Holy Terra.
Yeah,
Oh, they
let me
do terror
answer a
itself.
few super chats, chaps. Play They Are Billions on Steam is great. I tried playing They Are Billions, but it was actually really fucking difficult. Maybe I am a massive boomer. Love you, Sergeant Keeper. US Air Force scrub entertained in sunny old North Dakota. Current temperature 12 degrees Fahrenheit because metric is gay. Dude, get in the fucking 20th century. Well, no, probably the 19th century. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Don't start making fun of Ice-T again. That really set a lot of people off.
Dude, Ice-T
Did
is
that
for
guy say
French
he's
people.
North Dakota?
Maybe studying can become an extracurricular sport to give kids the way to practice. Coach could use a paintball gun to simulate a shooter. Well, I mean, it's the brave new world we're in. I tell you what,
So brave, and the whole room clapped.
Stunning.
When you ask the question, are traps gay, are we talking about the actual trap or the guy who's having sex with the trap? We're talking about the guy who's having sex with the trap.
The guy who's having sex with the trap? Well, if you get to the point where you're having sex, then you know it's a guy, and at that point you're gay.
No, as in you. Are we talking about you or the trap, you know? But we're talking about you.
If you're the trap, you're absolutely gay.
Yeah,
If
once
you're
you know it's a
fucking
trap,
you're
what you
still-
do
you're
after
still
that
gay
depends.
because
That's
you
the answer.
perform
to
a
the
reach around
question.
at some point.
So, question: should employed and taxed minors be able to vote? My first job in tax was when I was 15, and I never got to say on how my money was used. I'm not a minor now, but I'm still pissed. To be honest with you, probably not. I can't say that I'm pro kids voting. I think that's easily abused by unscrupulous politicians like Jeremy Corbyn, frankly, who wants to lower the voting age to 16, and it's because he thinks they'll vote Labour. Because the thing is, it's moralism without morals. You know, they can say, "Oh, I'm a good person because I support Labour," and they honestly think they're good people because they're socialists. And it's like, no, there's a lot to know about this, and you don't, and you're not like a bad person. Obviously, you're just supporting something that has. It's very complex. It's not just a clear. This is a moral good. You know, it's not like that. So I really don't think we should. If anything, you should raise
Just
it.
because you're old enough.
No, fuck you all. Traps are not gay.
I love how Scrump lives in denial about this fact.
Yeah, right.
The eternal existence.
Trump does get praise from his army of.
Well, thing is, Sargon, is that just because you're old enough and dumb enough to work doesn't mean that you're old enough and less dumb enough to vote.
I think this year's Game of the Year kind of pointed that out, didn't it? They voted Fortnite Game of the Year.
I don't think it's about the age, you know. You have 16-year-old geniuses and 40-year-old dumbasses, you know.
Oh my god, that you're making it depends on the child argument. God damn, we're not. But
we're operating on the law of averages here.
You need to meet a threshold before you can vote. I wonder where we.
No, what I'm saying is we should make people go to the military.
Well, no,
we don't know if you're smart enough to vote, so here's your gun.
Well, hang on. This is the thing. Like it is the depends on the child element, because obviously, like you say, some kids are going to be fucking geniuses, but obviously I think the majority aren't. So I just think it's a guarantee, isn't it?
The law of averages dictate that you are not old enough
world
at that
to
point
live.
to be developed enough to know how to properly vote.
Yeah, and just most won't. And rather than us having to test every fucking kid, see if they're smart enough to vote, we might as well just wait until a particular age, which should be around 25. I'm thinking at this point.
The real problem is, like, if you made a test, who would dictate that test?
Oh god, it'd be
You go with
SJWs.
general IQ test, but I guarantee you people are going to corrupt that to just an ideology test.
You need to be at least this progressive to vote.
Yeah, something like that. They
Meritocracy
will
sorts
corrupt
everything
it.
out.
And then if for the age thing, I feel like the perfect age is whenever your nation allows you to join the service is a good time to let people vote, because at that point you have the fact that you're letting people, join the military to defend the right to vote and possibly die for it. You should be letting them vote.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like that's pretty reasonable.
I mean, I would probably say a term of service, perhaps 2 years, for everyone of like 16 and over to then earn the
Service
franchise.
guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I'm actually at the point where I'm just like, it's not that I don't think women should vote, or like I just think that maybe like most people shouldn't vote because they seem to want to vote for socialism.
I think the genuine merit of that idea comes from the fact that it makes you value the franchise.
No, I'm joking. Obviously.
I think what needs to happen is that we need to literally destroy this kind of dependency culture.
Yeah.
Ever since after the aftermath of the mid '60s, because
yeah,
ever since then, like governments giving out welfare, timesing, how much entertainment industry is influencing. Is having a major influence on public opinions on almost everything. Where like fucking everyday people and mainstream normies just get their fucking opinions from like celebrities and entertainers, like the likes of.
I've got a great argument that people can use on this one. Like the whole thing about like you say dependency culture, right? Where it's like we'll just give these people this money and this help because they need it, and it's like, well, would you want that for yourself? Would you want to have your family kept dependent? It's like, no, I'm going to work. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a career. Well, yeah, okay. Well, why are you accepting you're going to say, oh, but not for black people? No, that's if you want it for yourself, you should want it for them too. And I don't see why we should change our standards. And I think that changing the standards, like, it's bad for them. It's for anyone who you do it to. For any group, if you were to say, right, you're all just to be held to a lower standard, and we're not going to expect anything of you. I mean.
It's really condescending as
well.
Yeah, like you're saying, okay, you're definitely not as good as us. So we need to help. We got to help you somehow because you just suck.
Yeah,
and,
the poor darkies, they can't help themselves. They don't know what they're doing, so they need.
They're just wild
big,
animals.
Strong white man to fix everything for them.
That's exactly what it is. It's
You're missing the real point here, though, is that we need to eliminate all the gays. Apparently,
I'm not playing Fallout 76, man.
How dare you? I didn't know you hated me so much.
Eliminate all the gays.
No,
I'm calling the bully hunters, guys. This is totally fucking serious.
Well, Rags, it looks like you and I are out.
Guys, Jesus was gay.
Rags is not gay, like Rags is not a furry.
This is just my.
Do I need to put air quotes around that?
Oh man.
I mean, this is just my opinion about American culture in general, but I'd say over the last, 70 years, sort of like the turn after the later section of the 20th century of American culture, like America's had a very strong obsession with pleasure, entertainment, and just like all forms of vices that I think we can confidently say has gone.
Don't you unironically want to eliminate all the gays though? I seem to remember you like telling me you're going to gay clubs and trying to lecture people. Either Bucko, Mr. Defiler.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! Defiler gets triggered. Getting rid of the Marine
Aside, but aren't I correct that pleasure within America has gone way too fucking far to the point of?
Yeah, that's primarily because America being so prosperous for so many decades, and living in this culture of so much success and wealth and everything else, is that we've kind of developed this mindset that everything should be easy and there's nothing inherently wrong with having things kind of handed to us.
We need service guaranteed citizenship.
Why people focus so much on like celebrities and shit like that is because it's like, it's a lot easier, and most people by their nature in this kind of circumstance are going to take the path of least resistance. So it's easier to just want to be handed things. It's easier to just have somebody tell you what to think and what to do.
But the thing is, what I seem to really just despise about just how human civilization. This is why human civilizations kind of often stagnate, is because they just dismiss or in denial of the consequences. If you've got a civilization that just is in denial of the consequences that they're somehow, by habit making all around them, whether it be personal or societal wise, gonna literally destroy them and engulf them in the end, or they're gonna have to literally. It's like a party. It's like when you go to a party, you're all drunk and you don't really care what you're doing. But then at the aftermath, when you have your hangover, you start to get the full psychological scale of the consequence of what you've just done for having a good time.
Well, see, that's just part of
And
that's
then,
just
like,
a facet of human nature. Honestly, it's just everybody's.
It's a cycle.
Everybody doesn't really grasp the full consequences of their actions, or the outcomes or possibilities of the paths they're headed down, until something bad happens, and then they're like, "Oh shit, really?" And then we never really learn from our lessons.
You know what I think that one of the main problems with life is anymore is that people have completely lost their moral foundation of what it means to live, and to have something to base all other choices off of that is just a solid moral core is very much so needed in life.
Well,
Essentially,
what you're saying is that most people, unfortunately, have never developed or lost their capacity for living a principled life.
We got rid of God, but we
Basically.
didn't replace it with anything.
Well, we did. We
feel
replaced
like-
it with money.
Fuck
We
God.
replaced it with money and greed.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
if you look at most political debates, people aren't discussing principle at all. Like, they're not making principled arguments. In
They're
this
just
problem.
they're just calling
it's just
each other
an irrelevant
names.
concept.
Yeah,
I feel like the biggest reason that principle is kind of left to an extent is because people don't question things as much. And I know that sounds a bit opposite of what one might expect, because oftentimes when they hear principle, they think dogma. But really, the best kind of principles come from questioning the inherent principles behind why you do something for the greater good or for whatever kind of good you're working for. If you question what principle does this serve, like not lying, why is that a good thing to do, and what principle does that serve? And it allows you to apply context, like, for example, lying to somebody who's trying to murder, a friend or family member of yours, and telling them, oh no, they're not in the house or something like that, and then calling the cops would be a smart thing to do.
Yeah, of course, there's
lying
justified.
lying to, say, your spouse or something about cheating on them is a dick move. People don't really examine the why on there, so they don't bother to form principles simply because they're cynical but not inquisitive. If you know what I mean by that. There's too many people who are always dismissing principles and such as old-fashioned simply because that's the style to be, and they think that they're being ultra woke, when in actuality they're just following the flow of everything and not actually thinking about the how or the why, and thus they don't adapt principles. But at the same time, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of you guys or a lot of people think, just because
I
disagree.
So if I get what you're saying correctly, what you're basically saying, is that
that's all you see.
being a skeptic TM is not trendy.
Well, because if you look at culture, it's like culture and counterculture. So now with all after the millennials, there is like all the new guys who see how stupid they are, and on the more conservative side now they're more like social. I don't know how it's like liberal on the good side and conservative on the other good side. They mix the best side of all sides.
So I have a question. Is Orion close enough to V to get kicked?
No. Never.
Orion has a serious crush on V, like hard man crush.
Oh yeah, he has like a proper man crush.
I'm saying it's platonic, so it's okay.
I gotta go grab dinner. I'll be back after a while.
Sagan, please steer us more in the video game direction. I can feel my fedora spontaneously growing during this conversation.
Right, okay, yeah. Well, I'm currently in the middle of a massive battle with a bunch of... Well, I was in the middle of a big fight with a bunch of raiders, and I was getting my ass kicked.
Did you get the Doc Morbid?
But I actually... No, I haven't got that yet. I'm just wiping out some raiders. But I actually won fairly convincingly. So that's good.
You have more super chats, by the way.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
Yes, you do.
Sargon, are you saying that you self-defended yourself to victory?
I actually unironically did, yeah. I didn't realise we were going to have a fight either. Like, I was just...
Is your crusade just?
It's mandatory, frankly.
NAP was violated.
You got to walk around enough until you find the bridge, the Monty Python bridge, with the guy who must
Oh,
ask
yeah,
you
yeah.
questions. You got to find it's the best armor in the early game and mid game.
Right. Okay. So, shouldn't the cutoff as to be whether or not you put responsibility into a system, not your ability to stay alive? I'm in NC. I don't know where that is. 16 years old and can be legally tried and taxed as an adult but can't vote. 1776. Well, I mean, he makes a compelling argument, to be honest. Like, I can't deny that reasoning. I mean, if he's paying taxes, no taxation without representation. I mean,
rights come with responsibilities, and responsibilities come with rights. So
yeah. Like,
shouldn't you call it
on the other?
Sorry?
Shouldn't you call it like if everyone has a college degree, then what's the worth in it? So if everyone gets minimum wage, then what's the point? Now everything will get more expensive. You know, if everyone gets enough money to buy apples, then what will happen to the apple industry? Because it's basically worthless.
Inflation.
Yes, yeah. So
wait. You're talking about if everybody has the money to buy apples. That's different than there's too many apples or too few apples.
No. In relation to minimum wage, like if everyone gets a certain amount of money, that means this amount of money is no longer worth really as much as it was, at least. You know,
all they would do is jack up the price of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the world we do live in. Everyone does have the money to buy apples.
Yeah, and
apples
everything is getting more and more expensive, and people are making less and less money.
Well, getting back to his point, I have a hard time arguing against it, Leaf. Maybe I'm on the no taxation without representation train for that now.
No taxation and cap.
Also, Sargon, if you scroll up, you'll find a super chat from an unironic monarchist.
Yeah. I'll get to it. I've got the list up on. So there's a thing on the console.
All right.
Holy fuck, boys! I'm 16 and A level and Gov Pol class are SPACs. Yeah, I can believe it, dude. I can totally believe it. I'm playing 76 right now. I'm looking for fellow cleansers and Victorium. Yeah, you won't last long. there'll be a media shitstorm over someone being mean in Fallout 76.
No, you don't understand. We have to cleanse the homosexuals, guys. It's a serious
I've got a
crusade.
genuine question about Fallout 76.
See, I have to make sure there's a caveat there.
76 and made some homophobic slurs, would I still be banned for being homophobic?
No, tell them your role playing is the Legion.
I told you Sargon will embrace monarchy at some point. Having a system where a family is prepared to rule a country is better than letting stupid anti-fars vote for socialism. Well, it's like, it seems it, but when you end up after like 500 years of living under that system, it's bad. So if the more taxes you pay, the more your vote counts, then rich people would have their votes count for more and outbid the working class. We shouldn't do that. Only citizens should vote. Would you like to more? Well, yeah, obviously. Christ, the idea non-citizens voting in your elections is lunacy.
Voter ID.
Yeah, like we said, what's stopping him to vote if an illegal immigrant in the US can vote?
Well, yeah.
But Sargon, California is so fucking progressive. How could you possibly fight against that?
It's terrible. Some of the things they believe that like illegal immigrants should vote in your elections. What? There is no rationale for that.
Or like knowingly giving somebody AIDS is now the same thing as
only a
parking
felony.
Yes, knowingly giving people AIDS is a misdemeanor in California now. Believe me, as a California native born and raised for 25 fucking years, I am utterly fucking disgusted with my state.
It's disgraceful, isn't it? It really is. But,
so here's a voting rights question: if we do manage to genetically engineer cat girls, do they get the vote?
Well,
it depends. Yes. Are they 18 or older?
They're more qualified than a lot.
once you create them, technically they're zero. So.
Well, this then begs the question: do cat girls age in human years or cat years?
They age in human years.
Oh no!
Everything ages in human years.
Well, then they need to be
point,
18 to vote.
Well, you think time works differently for them?
Time's like arbitrary, man.
Maybe
are a social construct.
Fast time will work differently for them, but barring those.
You know what he was saying, you sarcastic.
Allow me to explain linear time.
If getting head... wait. Traps are only gay if you're a bottom. No, the traps are just gay.
Gave you a bottom.
Get over it.
Use the Greek definition of gay.
This is the man singing from my hymn sheet. As I slowly continue to try and convince myself the traps aren't gay.
But do not worry, audience. If you bottom for a lady with a strap on, you can still keep your straight card.
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's pretty. That's yeah. What's more gay?
than
What's
that.
more gay? Fucking a trap or taking it up the ass from a woman with a strap on?
Oh, fucking a
Disgust.
trap,
The trap,
because there's
definitely,
another man
definitely
involved.
Yeah, definitely the
That's
trap.
just, that's an
Only the
obvious
trap because
question.
there's
but
no
you-
real
Why you
penis.
even bothered asking me.
Scrum's point though is now you're taking like a dick in the ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the
No, you're
but
not.
the
You're
one
not
thing-
taking a dick in the ass.
Yeah, you're taking a trap. It's more like a femdom
You're taking,
thing.
you're
right?
taking
So,
a
like,
strap on. You're taking a strap.
All
on.
right, now
All
we're
you guys
equivocating, are we?
Oh, you guys are strangely defensive of this right now. Let me say.
No,
For the sake-
it's still
for the
it's
sake
still
of
gay, my dude.
argument.
I can explain exactly why.
Look, seriously, right? So when you're pinned to a bed and you've got a 6-inch plastic dick in your ass, you're gonna sit there if the media person like catch you. Oh my god! Well, no, it's not gay.
No, what is it?
Let me
It's-
explain.
Just for the sake of argument, going off the definition, it's not necessarily gay.
Let me get semantical about this.
By the
It's
way, I'll
really
give you.
Sargon. That's-
By the way, I'll give you
amateur
$100,000 for those pictures.
So what you're saying
it's
is
not gay. It's just faggotry.
So what you're
Any
saying
guy,
is
any guy who is willing to have his chick put a strap on and fuck him, it's not going to be 6 inches because he's going to want at least 9.
Well, there we go.
Which
Allow
makes
me
him
to
a total
introduce
goddamn
you to the
faggot.
concept of the belladonna bitch fist.
Man.
Aren't you
Welcome
so
to-
glad I
welcome
came
to
on this
Ecclesia,
stream?
boys.
This is what the Ecclesia is now.
This is this is what the ecclesia is when I'm here.
Yeah. No, it's turned into
Yeah,
this.
Scrum does
We're
bring it
all
up.
we're all a gay Jewish conspiracy.
Can I just say one more thing? In that case, then, are you arguing that it becomes a feminine penis? Since it's not gay?
Oh god,
Oh,
that's hard.
good
That's
point.
hard. That's hard.
Feminine penis.
Literally,
Yeah, that's what he said.
It doesn't
But
even
I
have,
mean-
I wouldn't even
I mean-
call it a masculine or feminine penis.
Women
I mean,
can have.
Oh, it's a
masculine
gender-neutral
penises.
penis now,
Scrum.
is it?
Scrum.
Well, yeah, it's an object.
All
Scrum,
penis.
it's more
Hey,
manly.
hashtag all penises are masculine.
Scrum. It's more
Well,
manly
it's an
to get
object.
fucked by
It's
a
not
masculine
part of their
penis.
body.
Yeah, but you
Sorry,
can't
what?
say there's no intent involved there.
Intent. Well, it depends on what the intent is.
Well, the
Like, if
intent
you
is
wanna
that it
if
simulates
you
a
want to
dick in your
imagine it
ass.
as a real penis.
The intent is to have a dick in your ass. That's about it. Real
Yeah,
or not.
and that seems kind of gay to me.
No,
That's
not
pretty
necessarily. What if you just want the
Only gay if you want a
understand
man to do
that
it.
Something, anything going into your ass will give you a sensation,
All right,
whether it's a
I'm
penis or
gonna
not.
I'm gonna call it right now, Rags. You can't talk about what's gay or not just because you
I can. I literally can.
Hey,
He's an
you're the one who
authority.
says that you're not gay. So you know what? Your gay card's gone, and as a homosexual, I have the authority on what's gay or not. And traps are gay. Get a dick and a strap-on dick up your ass.
Yeah,
is
traps
gay,
are gay.
So get over it.
Okay,
the traps
so,
are gay.
so those
It's-
so those arguing that this isn't gay but traps are. So you're saying that fucking a completely passable trap is gay, but taking a 9-inch fucking big black fucking dildo up your ass is,
Yeah, but
is
it
not
wasn't-
gay.
That's
It
totally
wasn't
not
born-
gay.
Yeah, but it wasn't born.
They're both gay.
It wasn't born a man in the first place, right? It's like a femdom thing. It's just like you want your wife or your girlfriend or whatever just beat the ever loving crap
Okay,
out of you.
Anubis, you're never
Space
getting those
Scrum.
pictures back now.
See, Scrum, this begs the question.
I've got a.
Hang on. I think we can make a distinction here. So, I mean, is it the actual physical process of having sex with a man that makes you gay, or is it your intention that makes you gay?
It's your intention.
It's the intention. It's
Right,
definitely
but-
the
It's
intention.
absolutely
Because-
your intention.
Okay, well, stop, because then, Rags, you're agreeing that it's gay to have a dildo in the ass.
No, it's not.
Well, what's the intention?
Because you're taking an object up your ass doesn't mean that you have intent to have sex with a man.
Yeah, but
It is an object.
Oh my
God,
God.
literal,
Would you-
literal, absolutely literal copy
you
of a penis. It is meant to be
It's
a
not
penis,
an
but a
absolute
woman
literal
just
copy of a
doesn't have one.
penis. It's just something
What if
that's
it's a
penetrative.
horse dildo?
For instance,
Okay,
if you're
I've
married to
got
a
it.
woman, if you're married to a woman and she says, "Hey, I'm curious, I want to try pegging,"
Still a
that
penis.
doesn't mean you're gay.
Sorry,
Like,
love.
yeah, sure, let's give it a
Pass
try.
that gay shit.
The same argument can be made about
Can I
like
just
who
say-
just happens
sorry,
to really love
can-
penis.
Sorry.
Can I
Because
say
it needs
this,
to be your intent to fuck a man has to be involved.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
if
I
you
agree
fucking
with
your
that.
Wife,
Well, no,
So
because
Are you
I-
attracted? The thing is are you attracted to the like? Is your wife pegging you because you want a man to peg to fuck you, or do you?
all right,
want...
let's put it this
Well,
way:
Rags, Rags.
if you're masturbating and you stick a finger up your ass, are you gay now?
Yeah.
Because it's
No.
not a penis.
Okay, well, there you go.
Prostate gay.
That's
It's not a
exactly
penis.
it.
It doesn't look like a penis.
So the
Well, it doesn't
shape
have to-
of the object, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't have
Maybe
to.
a
It
can of
doesn't have to
Barbasol
look.
for all I care.
See, Rags, the whole thing you said about the intent to fuck a man. Well, you got to remember, not all gays are tops.
Oh,
That actually changes literally nothing. I don't know why you bothered.
Wouldn't you say that the majority
because you don't need to have
of
the intent to fuck a man to be gay.
in a way it does, because the bottom is more of a feminine, wants to be dominated, right? Same thing with
Sometimes, but it doesn't matter.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. But
Sometimes, but there is the concept of power bottom.
The bottom
Yeah,
is not
speaking-
gay now.
Oh my god, this is getting way more complicated than I thought it was going to.
Right.
I think I'm just going to move on to the next one because this is getting really complicated.
Would you say that if you say
Thanks, Grump.
No,
You'd
I
like
want to
to
say
be
one more thing.
educated.
That the line of reasoning we've gone down here is literally the "it's not gay if I say no homo" line of reasoning.
That's the whole thing.
This is what Twitter does to conversations. It's about this, not about actually.
This
talking about it and
this
going
is
through
what
lines of
Scrump
reasoning.
does to conversation.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
Sargon, I do
exactly.
have a point to make about a super chat that you had, not related to traps or not, and dicks.
Well, okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's the one relating to no taxation without representation, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's a fair point, but at the same time, I think, if that kind of concept were to be implemented, where say you do have a job and you are being taxed, and that should entitle you the right to vote. Well, working how much? Because just because you work of your own volition does not, and you are taxed for said work appropriately, doesn't necessarily entitle you to vote, nor should it. I'd say, if you're, say, 16, 17, and you're working full-time hours, like a normal adult, then at that point,
if you pay taxes, you should be able to vote.
consideration should be made that you have the right to vote.
If you
I
pay
don't know.
taxes,
I'm feeling the 1776 argument, to be honest.
I don't know, man. If you pay taxes, you should-
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and those were old dumb men. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
like
they're
you're
white.
paying,
Shut up, white
you're
people.
paying your money. You're paying your money into a system that you have no control over whatsoever. And if you're working and paying taxes, and you're responsible enough to work and responsible enough to pay your taxes, then I think that you're responsible enough to vote.
Yeah, but see, this is kind of my point. Is that, if you're 16 or 17 and you're working a job and paying taxes, okay, well, what are you working? How much are you working? And why are you working?
Why does that
If
matter?
it's just something that you're just doing on the side just for play money, like a lot of teenagers do.
Well, yeah, but a lot of those kind of people just get paid in cash.
Fuck your right to vote. But if you're the kind of person who's like an emancipated minor, and you're not with your family or anything like that, and you have to work full-time hours to support yourself, then in that kind of circumstance, I can understand, yeah, you are entitled to vote because you are paying into and working hard into the process in order to be part of society.
Honestly, I think that if anybody pays taxes, they should have a say in where those taxes go, and they should have a vote for whoever is going to spend those taxes on what.
So we should get to vote on what the DoD spends money on?
I mean, in a way, we do.
Well, yeah, through representatives.
Because that would be awesome. Because I want them to start
we
spending
don't have
money on
we
research
need
for
more
fully
tanks for the
automated,
zombie
automated nuclear.
So by the same
So has anyone
logic,
actually
service
been
guarantees
16 or 17 earning enough to pay taxes? Because even when I was 16 or 17, I was an apprentice. So I was doing pretty much a full-time job, 40-hour week. And even then, I didn't earn enough to meet the government or the British government's bottom line for taxes because I didn't hit 12k at the time.
Well, to be fair, that is the British government, and it's kind of fucked right now.
Well, still, even it's the same thing in the U.S. If you get, rather than paying money in, right, at the end of the year, if you get money back, you're not paying taxes. You're getting your money back. If you pay money in, you have to pay the government at the end of the year, or they don't give you anything back or anything like that. Then you're obviously paying your share in taxes more so than you're
that
making.
kind of further supports my point, because at the end of the year, most 16, 17-year-olds, they don't work enough. They may get taxes pulled from each paycheck while they work, but they're not going to be generally working enough to actually have to pay taxes because they'll be getting it all back.
Yeah, but some do. Some do.
Some
Not many,
do,
but
some do. Like I said, there's the occasional circumstance of like emancipated minors who are living on their own, who have to support themselves, who have to work full time, who have to pay their full taxes.
Yeah, and if your money is going to the government for something, anything, you should have a say in what it's your money, right? It's your money. You worked for it. You should have a say in
Yeah,
where
but
it
nobody
goes.
has a say on the taxes, do they? We do that at the ballot box via representatives.
Yeah, that's
but
why
we
they
see
should,
how well
that's
that
why
works
they
with
should have the right to
lobbyists
vote.
and shit.
That's
Well,
why
I-
they should have a right to vote.
I'm with you on that one. I think they should have a right to vote. Like if you're working full time paying taxes, it's hard. I mean, we don't let children work anyway, so obviously that's not something we have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, emancipated full-time working minors should, 16 or older should have the right to vote. But
Yeah, I think we can make
you're
an
just one of
exception
these teenagers who's just doing a job on the side, just to have play money or whatever, but at the end of the year, you're going to get all your money back from taxes anyway from the IRS. Then
Yeah,
fuck you.
the tax system is a very complicated thing, and like I've been saying, if you end up paying in to the government at the end of the year rather than getting back, I believe you should have the right to vote. You're responsible enough to do so.
Yeah, the tax system will fuck you harder than Anubis' wife. So.
Oh yeah. Jesus.
Well, I'm glad we could at least. I'm glad I could at least help get us off, traps and dicks.
I mean, when I was
I'm
that
just
young,
glad I'm not married.
If we want to continue
No offense,
circling
but
back to stuff.
no offense, but
I have the
that
monkey
meme is pretty old.
when I was 16 or 17 working as an apprentice, the only thing I paid was national insurance, which I think the Americans have.
Yeah.
So I think you got to question that, as I think most kids in the UK, 16, 17, aren't going to earn enough to hit the threshold to pay taxes.
To
Well,
be
if
honest
you're
with
paying
you-
for national insurance, should you then get a vote as well? That's an argument.
Well, it's a service, not a rule over you. But like the thing with I mean, like I wouldn't be against just setting it as a law. You don't take tax from 16-year-olds. Wait till someone's like 18 or something before you take tax off them. That's
how
many people is that really going to be?
How about throw this in for thought, right? With all the new advances in technology, right? YouTube and so on and so forth. There's a lot more business owners who are, underage, under 18, than there have ever been. Really, people can go on YouTube and do anything. People can go on anywhere and do anything on the internet and make money. So, if those people are doing that, claiming their taxes, right, and actually paying them, and paying in at the end of the year, I absolutely think that those people as well should have a right to vote.
Well, at the end of the year, if they end up paying more into taxes to get back, then yeah, sure, they qualify. But if
I
not,
am
then
against
screw 'em.
13-year-old Fortnite streamers being able to vote personally.
It's an interesting conversation either way, because I'm actually not sure where I'm landing on all of this. Like, it's interesting entertaining the arguments, but then I'm thinking, do we want just hordes of teenagers voting, really? That's a terrible idea, probably, isn't it? And I'm just saying this on like life experience
That's kind of the point,
alone.
Sargon, is that it's
Immature people don't deserve, high forms of, higher positions of power. It's just
I don't know, if you're making enough money to pay in at the end of the year, you're pretty mature. Like, I was pretty mature when I was 16. I was on my own.
Yeah, but now things are quite different, because the Gen Z generation now has had all the kind of advancements of technology, greater standards of living, and that has created a kind of delay of their own independence. And this is somebody who has literally.
But you don't know that. You have.
Well, no. Well, I've looked with all the peers around my university, and it's quite very scary that a lot of them don't even know how to do independent, like.
Oh, do you think
forms of their own group
Yeah, but
projects?
you have to ask yourself, how many of those people, right, who are that irresponsible or that careless with what they're doing, how many of those people are working enough and earning enough to pay into the tax? Because there's a cutoff period. If you don't make over a certain amount, you get money back. Period. You don't pay in. So if the people that are doing that responsibility and earning that much money and paying in, they should have a say in where their money goes, however menial that say is.
Sure,
I mean, I'm not talking about random. I'm not talking about like pulling a high school kid out and just saying, "All right, kid, go vote." I'm talking about you have to do something. You have to show that you're able to do this.
Well, hang on.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Anyway, lads, I'm afraid I have to go now. But
Yeah.
before I leave, I have to say my obligatory dab on the Jews, because I have to work it into every Sargon stream now. Can I get a dab on the Jews from the chat?
Dabbing
Dab on the Jews.
Dabbing back.
Also, It'll be announced probably by the end of this week, but I'm going to be back on Twitter as well, so prepare your anuses, all of you.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
for all of
already
10 minutes,
submitted a
I
follow
imagine.
request. You better
Scrum
he'll be
commits a
gone
hate
again.
crime.
He'll be gone again. in
terrorist is back.
Me and Saga are going to race to see how fast one of us can get banned.
Scrump, you won't even last a couple of hours, man. I bet.
I'll be fine.
You'll be
I put
gone
in a
in
follow
12
request,
hours.
Trump. You better fucking.
But it'll be
accept it.
glorious. It'll be a glorious 12 hours.
A glorious 12 hours, definitely.
I will live like a king. Anyway, good night.
Good night, dude.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to carry on playing Fallout because I'm having a really fucking good time playing Fallout. So I'm going to go get another cup of tea in a minute, though, obviously.
Another cup of tea? Well, that's going to be half an hour at least.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I like to get a snack from the fridge as well. It's like have a cigarette.
I know. You like to get a snack. You like to go have a cigarette. You like to masturbate.
Have some iced tea.
Yeah.
Get some iced tea, Sargon. Try some iced tea.
Hey Sargon, I came for a work day. We had to call the police where I work, and it took over 15 minutes to get response time. I imagine you can make tea quicker than the police can arrive around.
Did you tell him somebody was being racist?
Yeah,
No.
they would have been there really quickly.
Well, no, we had
Somebody has an assault spoon. Help!
No, we had some kids turn up else. We had a customer
Stirring his
come
tea with a
complain that,
knife.
there were kids smoking marijuana while driving.
Yeah.
And
I'm
in
gonna
15
get
minutes
a-
didn't even pick up the phone.
I'm going to get a hashtag going about every time Sargon goes to get tea. I'm just going to call it hashtag cunt. It's an acronym for cigarette, unblock colon, knob wife, tea.
Fucking hell! Sorry, this raider is just like bullet sponge, and now I'm fucked.
This guy's gonna fuck you up.
No,
Well,
I'm gonna
let's
get. I'm gonna
enemies.
get
I'm glad
raped.
Fallout
There
hasn't changed in all these years.
There we go. God damn. Yeah, it's.
Sorry.
These raiders are pretty tough. Sorry. I haven't got any fucking stim packs. That's why.
Do you think their sales are now doing bad enough they might consider putting it on Steam finally? Or...
Oh yeah, that's how fucking pretentious is that?
Yeah.
Like
It's one thing I totally understand if a company doesn't want to put their game on Steam because Steam takes 30%. The thing is, if you're not going to put your game on Steam, it can't be awful because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's just like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, but the
It's
question
this game
is,
would
do you
be
think-
way better if it
do you
did?
think-
But we're just
Well, like-
we just don't want to pay the money.
Do you think they're losing more than 30% of their sales by not putting it on Steam? Because if you
I
earn,
think
if you
with
get 31%
76
extra,
Yes.
I
It
think
was
Steam is
strategic,
rolling in
though.
so much fucking dosh right now that they don't even.
It had to
I
be
don't know.
strategic.
I think Fallout 76 probably. I mean, it's either. I mean, I think they're certainly very concerned about it.
The only reason I see that they didn't put it on Steam is they foresaw people trying to refund it. It's the only reason I can see.
Yeah, and the
Because
refund
if
thing
they
too.
released it on Steam, the amount of refunds they would have had is ridiculous.
well, one of my friends was saying that they thought it might have actually been the fact that Steam has a fucking rating system that they can't really moderate.
That's true. Yeah, the Bethesda Net launcher has other games, sort of, but it doesn't have a rating system, and there's no built-in system to get refunds if you've played the game for under 2 hours or you haven't had it for more than 2 weeks.
Imagine my shock.
So, do you want to talk about the Jewish question? Anything? Anyone?
Should we let the Jews vote?
Well, yeah. If you can let.
Sargon, instead of killing the Raiders, have you thought of joining them?
No.
Wait, so are they human raiders? Because I thought all the human were turned into scorched.
Oh, I'm playing Fallout 1.
Oh.
Have you ever? Have you?
You
played
can't join the
before?
Raiders because you can't join the Raiders because they have this hierarchy where you start at the very bottom if you just join them.
Well, that's why
And
your first
that puts
day
you in a
at Raiders
position where
School,
you have to be the
shank
butt boy
biggest
for a
raider
long
you
while.
That's what confused me with Fallout 4's Nuka World is that if you became a raider boss, why would the raiders in the fucking Commonwealth still shoot at you? Well, it was like a different raider gang.
Because they're raiders, they're fucking insane.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I hate the idea that you can just write off stuff as they're insane.
Yeah, but if
That seems like
join
lazy to
them-
me, kind of.
Well, it
Like,
may
you're just
seem
nuts
lazy,
and
but at the
crazy
same
stuff.
time, it's fucking insanity, my dude.
If you join them,
And plus, I think the problem is that people had with it is that you can be a raider now, but you raid the things that you spent all that time building.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big problem.
Though
Isn't
the thing was
isn't
the
that
thing
half
with
the entire nature of raiders is just to raid shit, regardless?
Yeah, but they don't build the shit they then raid.
Well, yeah, I think for raiders though, the point is that raiding is a means to an end.
Well, that's the thing is that
Survival, not just like I'm just an evil fucking person, and this is what
it's
evil
lazy.
people do.
Well, with raiders, it's not a means to an end, it's just a means.
They did work
No, well,
quite
yeah,
hard
they're
to
trying
actually
to.
humanize
the
the
end
raiders,
is
didn't they?
surviving. The end is like it's a nuclear wasteland. They weren't raiders if there wouldn't be a wasteland.
Well, yeah, it's it's to raid.
It is a means to an end, and the end is trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Whether or not you actually built that shit, they're gonna raid it to survive anyway.
Well, no, it's because it's the player as the raider.
Well,
The
maybe
player
maybe the
built
raiders
the
are-
stuff, and then
use
the
all those
game says you
resources
can be a
on
raider
building.
now, but you got to raid the stuff you spent all that time building.
yeah,
Fallout 4, give it credit on one thing with the Raiders is it actually
Raiders-
did the Raiders some dialogue to show they aren't all just arseholes. Like
The
a lot of
way-
the dialogue, if you listen closely, they're like, it's rather you than me, or I don't want to do this, but I have to.
Raiders survive, and if you become the raider leader and start building shit, maybe the raiders are gonna start raiding the shit you built because they're kind of fucking upset that you're wasting all those resources on building shit instead of trying to survive.
Wasting
The way
resource
I- the
building,
way I
but
see
building
it-
is part of surviving. You build things
Yeah,
to
well,
survive.
The thing is, like, so
Not
it's
inherently.
the way I think it was made is so that you build stuff. Yeah, okay, the game goes on. All right, then you play Nuka World, and say you're bored of building stuff. Now you want to destroy everything you built just for something new. You know, just shits and giggles. Really.
The one thing
Yeah,
with
but,
Nuka World,
yeah, but
I
they
would
say
like
that stuff that you built, you spent all that time and work building it. So now,
Well, to be fair, it's half the reason
It's
why
just,
I
it's,
pack my own
it's just for
settlement.
people. It's for people that have fun destroying the things that they build.
Right,
you know?
but a lot
You
more
can't do it in real life.
people largely have a lot more fun destroying stuff other people build. You don't want to destroy your own.
Very true.
Don't burn down our shit. We need our shit. Burn down
yeah.
the white people's shit.
Yeah.
Take it to the
We
white
need our
neighborhoods.
weave.
Yeah.
We need our weave. I don't wear it.
Yeah,
but we
Jesus.
Need it. Have you ever played Fallout 1 before, Snarks?
Yeah, like 20 years ago, something like that.
Once upon a time.
Can I
Back
get
in
it
those-
for free?
Back before I was a boomer.
Can I just
game
rest
first
for a
came
minute?
out.
I really can't remember.
Speaking of boomers,
I
I, just
can,
want
yes,
to
I
let you
know I
know
can,
I identify
shut
as trans boomer. My pronouns are Zero,
Like-
Ultra, and Mower.
It's been a long time since I've played Fallout, okay? A long time.
Oh.
Just
You
get
played-
fucked.
You played 2 too, right?
Yeah. I completed them both.
Dude, I love 2 so much. Like
Yeah.
2 is by far my favorite Fallout of all.
I love the fact that it didn't have a time limit on it.
Yes, yeah. yeah.
Fallout 2 was when they actually perfected the franchise.
Yeah.
Best Fallout game was definitely
Oh,
Tag.
we need more
That's why it
microtransactions.
always gets remembered as.
The thing is, I'm in 76. I'm level like 27, and I still don't have enough of those little atom thingies to buy like a set of stuff on the
Well,
microtransaction
hey,
store.
hey, Rags, if you just buy the $200 pack, you know, that comes with the shit bag, they'll give you 500 of those for free just because you complain.
That's true. If I do spend $200 on
$700
the
to get the Postman's kit.
pre-order thing, then I can't get $5 of in-game credit.
Well, what are you complaining about? It just works. It just works.
Man, what a fucking offensive amount. $5. Like,
Yeah.
just get fucked, bitch. It's $60 or fucking 200. God, like, that's such a slap. And then you can just picture Todd Howard's fucking face.
With the 200 edition, do you actually get any normal in-game currency with it by default? Or?
No. You know what would be a great
You get
a
screwed.
great add-on? You know what would be great if you could just have Todd as a character in game, like the only NPC in game. You just beat his fucking
Oh no!
ass
Have you
all
have
day
you,
long.
have you not seen? I think of Tech Raptor, one of the most
Give me my
popular, most
refund. Give me my refund.
one of the most popular and most downloaded mods, I think, is either for Fallout 4 or 76 right now, is the ability to crucify Todd Howard and whoever's the marketing director. As in, like,
That's
build,
gotta
like,
be that's gotta be New Vegas. I would honestly love to do that.
Evening, all. Evening, Saga.
Evening, chap.
Oh, Binary Surfer's here.
How's it going, man?
Not bad, not bad.
We are streaming, just so you know. Oh, fuck, that's good.
Yeah,
And-
I noticed you play Fallout, which is not Fallout 76.
Yes. Yes, anything but. Holy shit. I'm getting my ass
I'm
kicked,
deeply fearful for next Elder Scrolls after that shit.
Oh,
The state of absolute state of Fallout. You have to go back friggin' almost 25 years to get a good Fallout game.
You just hate women.
Well, you can play
Fallout 3 was
Sorry.
recognize New Vegas.
My misogyny showing.
Well, wasn't the original Fallout not made by Bethesda?
It's made by Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
Fallout
bought it
3
and
was
made
playable
it into
just
something
about
else.
with some mods.
Now that they've banned those three guys off of the Fallout server, I imagine that's half of their active player base gone.
I know I stole that joke from VT.
Dude, if you want to see a really good post-apocalyptic game, check out Mutant Road to Eden. I've been playing it today. It's incredible.
I've never heard of it. What's it about? Well,
It's basically stealth-based XCOM.
Right, okay.
In a post-apocalyptic way. It's really cool. Made by little indies. Mutant Year Zero.
So
It's
what
basically
was
what Fallout should have been.
what was it called again?
Get the title right now.
Does it have XCOM system where you can have 3 soldiers at 99% hit chance all miss?
No, they should have fixed that actually. I've had very little problem with that. It's called Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden.
Right, okay.
It's amazing. I'm having immense fun with it today.
Right, okay. I will check that out.
It would
But
be
not while I'm
trippy-
playing Fallout.
Trippy Fallout game would be like if you kept dying, like you started out in like an absolutely desolate apocalyptic wasteland, and you kept dying. and
I
then
can't.
you-
Is that you, Rags?
Nope. No.
Sorry, whoever's saying is really quiet on mine.
That's Matt.
Matt to Cat.
Matt Cat has a shitty microphone, so.
Right, okay. No worries. I was just like not sure.
I'll boost my input.
Wouldn't be this time.
Is that clearer?
Yeah, that's better, man. How's it going?
Oh, fantastic. I'm doing wonderful, actually. I was thinking of this idea of like a post-apocalyptic Fallout game where you start out like in an absolutely desolate world, and every time you die, the world gains like a little bit of more to it, but like you lose, like you have less abilities, so that as you die, you get less abilities, but the game gets easier, and there's more pathways to take within the game. That'd be
Why
really
lose
trippy.
abilities?
Well, because like you start out with like it can be almost desolate, but you can do whatever the fuck you want. And then as like you die from like lack of doing well in the world, you lose abilities, but the game gets easier and there is more pathways for you to take, so you don't rely on your abilities as much, but you
But abilities
do
are
have
fun
more
and interesting
options.
and make the gameplay better.
I think it's actually
I don't want to lose
It's made for the most casual person out there now.
No, I think it's actually more complex than that because it's more about the pathways that you take as you die rather than constantly
What do you
relying
mean
on your
pathway?
ability. Right, so that's what I'm saying.
What
So
if you're
as-
good and you win in the first go, though?
Yeah,
Ooh,
what if
that's-
you just aren't
that's
good and
possible.
you're constantly losing things to do?
Yeah,
Well,
that's the problem. Is wait,
So-
if someone dies,
So if
What
I'm
if you're
not
the
that
opposite
good
of
at the
Trump and you
game,
never win?
I essentially work myself into a scenario where I have nothing but a primary attack and nothing else, but the game's easy. That sounds fun.
Yeah, but
I
there's
don't
more
think-
pathways. There's more networks for you to take. So like you can
What do you mean by
reason, or you
pathways
can
and networks?
right. So you can charm people, for instance, or you
But
can
that's an ability. What if I lose that ability?
right. Well, no, you would start out with like OP abilities. So like superpowers like magic or like casting fireballs or some shit like that. But as you die, you lose those abilities and you end up having to deal with more like dialogue options of coercion, persuasion, charming people, more like that.
So those
You
are
guys
just
seriously
abilities-
expecting complex mechanics in a modern game with shitty game design?
This idea just sounds
The
retarded.
number of glitches that
All
would
they
hit.
know.
By the way, would you guys want to play something like a Total War Fallout? Because I would like to see something like that, a grand strategy sort of style for Fallout.
There are already mods for it, apparently, for Total War that do that. Someone's told me that not Fallout, but post-apocalyptic Total War.
Well, it's Fallout specifically I want to see, because I want to see the ability to play like the Super Mutants or the Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah, that would be an interesting game to actually release. I mean, they got Warhammer. They got Warhammer Total War. Do Fallout Total War. That'd be badass.
That
I
would
think it'd be
make- I don't
too
know,
desolate.
Massive standing armies in the wasteland doesn't. I don't know.
Right, exactly. That's what I was getting at. It just there's too many. Like Total War is about massive armies, and a Fallout
The
wasteland
number of
it's too desolate.
consistently respawning NPCs I've met in Fallout.
Well, if you gave people the ability to settle places civilization style, maybe that would help.
Well, maybe if you have like Fallout Total War, maybe sure it's post-apocalyptic, understandably, but say it's like 500 years down the line when the NCR and the Brotherhood of Steel and all that stuff.
At that point, yeah, but at that point, why make it
It
a
actually
Fallout
grows
game?
into actual
I mean-
like mini civilizations.
There's a mod for Crusader Kings 2 that changes the map into a post-apocalypse North America. if I go correctly.
Yeah, there's a mod for Hearts of Iron 4 that does the same thing.
yeah.
Lose.
Thing is, why a Fallout game? What's the point
Yeah,
of
that's
a Total
what
Fallout?
I said. Is like at that point, why have it be
Yeah.
a Fallout game?
Yeah.
Just simply because I like the Fallout universe.
I think you should expand it to 40K.
But it wouldn't be the same. It would be completely different. So what about it would appeal to you?
Yeah, I'd rather a 40k one, to be honest.
Has anyone ever seen the Dark Crusade? Sorry, Dawn of War 1 mod that makes it on a grand scale. I forgot the name of it.
I've heard about it, but I don't
Ultimate
know.
Apocalypse mod?
That's the one. That's the one.
Beautiful. I love that one.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? I played
Yeah,
it
it
for
really
a few
is
months
good.
when it came out.
There's so many options, like especially with chapter selection with the Space Marines. I enjoyed playing the Space Marines the most on that mod. There were just so many options to upgrade your units in such a way that it
And
really
Titans.
Right.
playing
Oh, the
as
Titans
basic-
were amazing.
basic bitch.
I'd like to see a 40k game done in the style of if anyone played Star Wars Empire at War, where you had both the space battles and then the ground battles as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want Larian Studios to make a Warhammer game or another Fallout game.
Yes.
So they wouldn't fuck it up.
Total
you
War,
never
Proud
know
Boys
what
versus
Winston
Antifa.
does, though.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Man, the Proud Boys are being properly persecuted at the moment. It's kind of pissing me off.
Honestly,
Total War Charlotte.
Well, to be fair, Sargon, the Proud Boys have also been properly not giving a fuck.
That's a fair
I'm
point.
genuinely surprised that Antifa has gone on as long as it has without getting one of their members shot by someone.
Yeah. Or killing someone else, frankly.
And Sargon, you'll love this studio name for the mutant game.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
called the Bearded Ladies.
That's awesome. Hang on, I'm just gonna alt tab and I know it's in combat, but fuck it, because I really need a drink. But I'm gonna write that down here.
Did you ever get my
sorry.
Halloween gift, by the way, Sargon? I know I gave it to Scrump to send you and Short Fat Otaku, but I don't know if they ever did.
I don't think he has. I'll have to check.
Oh, that reminds me, Sargon.
Scrump kept the dildo for himself.
Sargon, did you see the meme I sent you about Gandalf and the boomer and everything?
No, what? But I assume it's a boomer always arrives when he means to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So I'm just gonna go get my tea because I was meaning to. But yeah, we'll carry on after. I'll be back in fucking 5 hours, like 10 minutes. Jesus, calm down.
Perfect.
Somebody get a stopwatch.
I really want someone to just turn up
Sargon
at his doorstep with one of those little like plug
time ready.
Like here's your offer.
Sargon left. Everyone revolved.
So a guy named Even Harder Daddy in the Xeno realms writes a bunch of poetry, and he wrote this for Sargon getting tea. I just popped it in Ecclesia.
Wait, can you ban skip Anubis? Because me and Jack decided to ban skip.
I can't ban
Orion,
skip.
you need to skip so you can get pure-blooded Athenian status.
Oh my god, why is this so long?
I don't. It's pretty good, man. He writes some good poetry, dude. In the Zethno State server, it's just there's a whole room with his stuff in it. It's been really
Wait,
good.
do we is there a Zethno State server now?
Yeah. There's an Uprising
Yeah.
Anna server.
Have you seen?
I know the Xenos keep asking for it.
Anubis will control your guns in the next 5 years, so take care.
This is why we need Sargon to address the XQ.
A $50 billion revolution in gun technology. An Israeli startup company, AI-enabled chip that monitors. Wait. Yeah, they have that right now.
It's already said, like, they sell it to a bunch of 12 countries and a bunch of places in the US military, yeah. So,
I really think AI-controlled guns are a bad idea for when you're trying to shoot someone that goes, I can't let you do that, Dave.
No. The point is, well, it's the joke I'm making, but it's just monitor. There is no function to control the gun. It's just like monitoring its bullets.
Well, no, there's a
stuff
gun.
like that.
Yeah, there's a one instance of a gun that controls it, modifies the barrel slightly. So if the scope takes a target, and once the target is taken, like handshake and anything like that, like if you have the gun up on your shoulder and you're shaking a little bit, the barrel will compensate for that, and it'll hit the same target, within a very, very, very slight pattern each time at a
That's
very
cool.
amazing distance. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really impressive weapon. They had a girl from what was it, Vice magazine, I think, went and fired it. She's never fired a gun before in her life, and she scored like better than Olympic shooters did with this weapon. I think it was at 100 meters.
Yeah,
The
well,
idea of a
it's
vice
like,
journalist that can constantly shoot scares me.
well, no, it's not actually like, have any power over the gun. It's mostly just monitors everything.
It's like one of those self-correcting cameras that keeps itself level.
Basically, yeah. Basically,
You're talking about like one of those guns from what was it? Not the most recent one, the previous James Bond, where it's got an ID chip so someone can't fire it.
No, they have handguns like that.
Yeah, we have
where
that now.
they were very easily hacked, right? A couple of hackers actually made a device that functioned exactly like the watch you were supposed to wear. They're working on another technology now with like your hand, the way your fingerprints are and your grip is, and they'll get there eventually. But it's really not practical right now for that.
Speaking of hacking, did you see someone hacked 200,000 public access printers yesterday and made them print off?
Oh yeah, the PewDiePie thing. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. It was 50,000. Yeah.
Oh really? I thought it was 200,000.
No, it was
I love
50.
I loved at the end they put, by the way, your printer is exposed to the internet. At least they gave a fair warning to fix the networking. Throw a little bit of a firewall up on your printer there, company.
And I know
Has anyone seen the Talon sword system?
Everyone calls you Jim on the chat.
I know. They call me Jim. I already know.
Yeah. You're a secret agent. Oof.
I'm in a couple other servers where that's all they rag at me all the time. Call me Fake Jim.
Well, I never saw any of his videos, so okay.
Just turn up on live streams and just be like, I'm Substitute Jim.
Do you know that the Jews are quite woke about leftism? It's pretty funny. So it's like really anti-feminist, progressive. It's like I read comments and like those Western feminists running everything, feminazis, everything, and it's just really funny because all the alt-right, the Jews are doing it, and they support the progressives, and I'm like, I literally read what they say, and it's like, no, it's completely opposite. Just
Orion, you're a Jew. You don't get to speak.
no, really. Just like I read comments on the articles that I read in the Hebrew, and it's like if it's something related to that, then almost all the comments get like that are anti-feminism get likes and all of that, and just really always makes me laugh.
One thing I will say about it, like it takes some, like the Israelis got to be walking around with their balls in a fucking wheelbarrow, right? Like they're surrounded by people who kill them in an ocean.
Mhm.
That's serious. Like that's some serious balls. I'll give them props for that.
It's brilliant. One of the things why I think everyone blames the Jews is because like these feminist groups or like even just these social justice groups is they take kind of the model by which the Jews like have prospered. Like they have a whole ethical model, and it's almost like a simulacrum where it's the fake. It's got no spirit behind it. It lacks the value, and there's no standards, and they're basically just using it to control and have power over populations. So they blame the Jews because it looks like it would come from the Jews, but it's actually not. It's more inclined to be like a model of what the Jews did, and because there's pragmatism behind what the Jews did, so they realize that, and they're just kind of mimicking it to have power and control. It's really fucked up.
The one thing I'll say is that if you're a smart person and you're doing something devious, or you're doing something you want to hide, or you're doing something that whatever, you're never going to expose yourself out in the open. You're always going to give people a face to blame for what you're doing.
Correct.
It just works that way basically everywhere in power in life. And maybe this
No,
is
that's
no
how
different.
sneaky
Maybe
the
it is.
Jews are. They've turned it into a meme, right? So now they know. Now they know
all
that
part
no
of
one
the
believes you when
plan.
you say it's a Jewish
It's all part
conspiracy
of the
because it really is,
plan.
but people think it's a joke.
Yeah,
The
it's all
Jews are
part
playing
of the
4D
plan.
chess. That's the thing.
The Jews don't make things into memes. The Jews are.
That would be more. That would be more than 4D chess. That would be double 8D chess or something. However
Yeah,
dimensions
well,
work.
I'm basically the thing is I'm all of you are under my control. You just don't know it.
Exactly. Kick Orion, kick V.
Nah,
Orion, the Jewish Internet Defense Force.
Orion, whatever.
It'd be kind of nice if they were in control of everything, because that would mean there's someone to blame for this fucking mess.
Yeah, I like this joke. I really like this joke. Well, basically, this guy, a Jew, sits on the bench in the street. Then some random guy sees, he reads a newspaper. He walks by, he sees, he reads a newspaper. Then he sees a newspaper. It's all anti-Semitic stuff. It's like, oh, the Jews control the banks. Oh, the Jews that. Oh, the Jews that. Then he asks the guy walking, asks the Jew, why are you reading that? It's terrible. Why? And what's the Jew answers? Well, in real world, all bad. Oh, terrorist attack that, terrorist attack there. Everything is bad. But here, when I read that, I'm happy. Just control the banks, just own everything. Well, what's not to like? So yeah, I like this joke because it kind of like demonstrates how people, self delusion themselves with what they
Can I
want
ask
to
a question
believe.
to the chap who was talking about the way that feminists are mimicking the Jewish hierarchy and stuff like that? You talk about the way that people accuse Jews of being like nepotistic and such, whereas feminists try to implement nepotism, but if you're Jewish and you fail, they'll kick you out. Whereas if you're a feminist, then once you're in, you're stuck there. Or is that something else?
I didn't get what did you mean?
Not you, the other one who was talking about.
Yeah, I missed
okay.
that. Can you repeat that as well? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Someone was saying that feminism tries to sort of like imitate the way that the Jews work. And
Well,
I'm talking about this idea that, like the idea that there's a lot of nepotism in the Jewish community because they're trying to protect themselves from everyone else. Whereas feminism is a very, very, very into nepotism. This idea that feminists look out for other feminists.
Right.
But the thing that I've always noticed is that because my manager's Jewish at her work, and he's always told me if you're Jewish, your Jewish family might help you get a job, but if you're terrible at it, they'll kick you out. Whereas with feminism, once you get into a position, you're sort of there for life. There's no way to unroot you without directly taking over the power structure.
Well, that's the problem with it being an ideology, like a false kind of structure of what the Jews actually created. Because I think what the Jews created with their model, their ethical system of morality, is basically a reflection of what they perceived and viewed from the world and got through revelation. But what ultimately ideologies do, isms do, like feminism, is they create their own values. They create a structure, an ethical system based off their own values, and they are dogmatic about implementing those values and are very like absolute in terms of making sure everyone stays in line. And if you get out of line, they either harm you but keep you within the system in order to like, it's almost like Stockholm syndrome in a way. They abuse you to keep you in the system, or they kill you. It's that simple. That's what the ideologies are doing. Like, I don't think most Jews would do that, truly.
I like how Sargon goes away and everyone starts talking about the Jews.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's a stream thing now.
God, why do you have to talk about the goddamn Jews? Like,
Thanks,
they're not that interesting.
Sargon?
Thanks, Orion.
10 minutes, 30 seconds.
Now, Orion.
See, I told you it'd be about 10
Down,
minutes.
Sargon.
So I see the meme of May in the chat. I really want to believe. I take it it's just a meme, isn't it?
Yes, it is my OC.
Oh,
I really want to believe that they're going to backstab May and kick her out. I honestly think that they're not. They don't want to lose power.
Right.
Everyone keeps saying she won't make it through. They're going to stand up to her. I don't think so.
Yeah.
To lose power.
Yeah, I think it's the Tory party, not just May.
Is
At
it
what
just me,
point does it
by the
turn
way,
into
that
like survival? Like we've got to do something about May, or else our party is just gonna die. Like, nope, we're going down with the ship.
Yeah,
I'll say this now, Rags. I'm seriously contemplating voting Labour in the next election. I fucking hate Corbyn. Just to burn the Tory party to the ground, it needs to die now at this point.
Well, I mean,
I think it's going to die either way.
Trump had a few Bernie voters voting for him, didn't he?
Quite a few,
For
actually.
what they did to
loads.
It's sort of the same effect, I guess.
Registered UKIP thanks to Sargles. I don't trust the lesser of two evils anymore. The whole idea of we'll vote Conservative because they'll do Brexit, unlike Labour. No.
You don't have to accept the greater miracle; just reject the lesser one.
Well, I mean, if both parties lose support, then they'll have to form coalition governments. So that's probably the best bet at this point. Weaken the two major ones and get some of the outsiders at least at the table. You know.
Honestly, I'm past weakening. I want to burn it to the ground now. At this point, I've had enough of.
Well, yeah.
It's demonstrated that it's now actively working against the interests of the majority of the UK.
Yeah, I
I'm
do
sorry to say,
absolutely loathe the Conservatives at this point.
At this point,
I
I
think
just
the United
messaged
States
you on
should just
Discord,
continue
so
Manifest Destiny.
if you check your most recent one from Art of Crime, you should probably see the thing I sent you on Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
You in your Halloween costume.
Sorry, Sargon, but at this point, I
Halloween
think the United
costume?
States should just continue its process of Manifest Destiny and further the American Revolution by taking over Britain and instilling some appropriate goddamn constitutionality and a little goddamn winning and sense to you people.
Well, it would be better than being governed by the EU.
Yeah, better to be part of America than part of Eurotrash, right?
Well, I was just reading an article on the Express when I was waiting for the kettle to boil, and I mean, obviously, don't. Oh right, Ardith, that one. Yeah, thanks, man. Obviously, I don't. I don't necessarily trust the Express 100%, but they framed the Belgian riot as an anti-tax riot, specifically against fuel taxes, which I mean, it sounds congruent with what I know so far. And they apparently went straight to the European Commission, as in the actual head of the EU, and started pelting their building with stones. So it's just like, fucking hell, this is literally what no taxation without representation leads to.
You better enjoy that tea, or else someone's gonna start dunking it in the ocean here before long.
This is why we need to take over all y'all's asses. I mean, World War II was the perfect opportunity for the United States to just say, "Fuck it, we're taking Europe."
Unironically, though, that is actually what's happening right now. Is like American Revolution, like the motive for it is very similar.
I mean, it can't be helped. We're just a better class of people, and everybody's a little bit jealous and wants a bit of it. So
well, it goes to show how like history repeats itself, but it also goes to show like
exactly
how this shit's important. Like civics is actually important. That actually matters,
Your politics is cringe.
What do you think?
Well,
with the Paris?
I forgot that politics was cringe. What a fucking idiot!
What do you think with the Paris riots that have gone on this week? Because everyone seems to be projecting their own ideology onto it, and the best answer I've seen is that there are riots going on in Paris. Isn't this the usual for it now?
Well, yeah, but these ones are because of fuel tax rises, and the ones in Belgium have gone to the Commission, which is very interesting. I guess the ones in Paris just went for the central government in Paris, but that's what the Commission one would be. I don't really know about the Paris ones. I haven't looked into them properly yet. So
I like how fuel taxes go up. The French decide to riot and kill each other, and the fuel taxes go up in America. We're just like, fuck it.
How many $1 million property damage and how many nights of rioting is that now in France?
Oh god, I mean, these are not ethnic riots, obviously. That also happen in France all the time.
Well, fun fact is that during World War II, the only thing that they couldn't ration in America without the population threatening to riot was petrol. The Americans accepted rationing on everything else, but when they said they would riot fuel, the Americans essentially
we had fuel rationing.
Well, to be fair, now that we're the top oil producer in the world.
The interesting thing with these French riots, though, is they're not going on in the French banlieues where they would traditionally have riots. They're now going on in major upscale areas of the city. The French banlieues are like slums, basically.
Well, yeah, but you have revolutions in the same place every time, and it gets stale.
That's exactly why no one really gives a shit about what's going on in France right now, is because it's like, well, this is typical.
Yeah, but I don't think it actually is. I think it's indicative of a larger issue within Europe right now, which is this.
It is, but at the same time, they've repeated themselves so many times, it becomes old hat, and we're just like,
Yeah, but that's the danger of complacency, is when we realize, oh, it's just old hat, and it's actually not old hat. It's indicative of a larger issue, and we think of it as being just kind of the norm, and it's not. It devolves, I think is the right word, into a much greater issue.
Yeah, I think there's a more important underlying issue.
There certainly is. It's just the problem is it's the French, so it's difficult to really focus on.
I get it.
It's
Yeah,
the French, so
true.
it's difficult to care. Yeah, no, I know.
The French rioting this time are perhaps gay or not.
I tell you, what, in 100 years' time, maybe that will be the great thing that people riot over.
I'm not sure anyone's that bothered about the French economy going down. Looks like, oh well, we'll have to do without some wine, some cheese. Yeah, we'll be able to win wars.
To be fair, I wouldn't mind the French economy going completely fucking under at this point because, I mean, that'd be a nice little hit to the EU. So
Yeah, I was thinking
you know,
the
Well,
collateral
that's
damage.
that'll be
that
then
would just make
two of
Germany
the largest
control the
economies.
EU complete.
Collateral damage.
And you think it isn't at the moment?
Listen, an attack on the French economy is an attack on migrants and refugees. So, you guys
And
all
as we
clearly
all
hate
are
brown
fully aware,
people.
that is completely racist.
Absolutely, you all of
just
you
hate
are
women.
racist and bigots, and you hate the Browns, and that's
Speaking-
not good.
Speaking of racism,
Of
has
course I
anyone?
hate the Browns. I'm a Steelers fan.
Sargon,
Somebody got that joke.
you better all.
I got it.
Sargon, have you seen that the EU is trying to criminalise criticising migration?
I did
It's not
see
in
that.
the UN, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
No, it's the EU, isn't it?
Was it the EU? I
Hey,
can't remember.
Hey,
it
I
was
thought I
the
saw
UN.
Barnier's face on it. Not Barnier, Tusk.
It was a,
Oh, no,
the
Oh,
EU,
well,
EU
I'm
may be
supporting it is the problem, but it's a
the EU
UN
may
thing.
be attempting to criminalize criticism of migration, but it was the UN who instigated the idea.
Well, they want to make it hate speech, don't they?
Basically.
Yeah.
But if that mean,
Hey,
if you say America signed up to this compact, America doesn't have laws on hate speech. So if it becomes hate speech in a country like that, then so fucking what? Or would that actually force hate speech laws into legislation in countries like that?
They
Well,
can't
you'd be-
because the
you'd be
Constitution
tying
can't
down
force it into
yourself.
the American law system.
Yeah,
Well, at
the
this
UN doesn't
point, we're
have
about 2
teeth,
steps away
basically.
from just saying fuck the UN and fuck the EU.
Oh no,
So-
it's just a hypothetical though.
I don't think they have jurisdiction. No. No.
The UN doesn't.
So the
UN
problem
doesn't
you're
have
getting at.
jurisdiction over domestic law like that.
Yeah. The problem you're getting at is that the United States will not allow anything that's more sovereign than itself. So there's no body of legislation that's going to govern over it. That's why the U.S. has such a tedious relationship with the UN Security Council, or the
Nor
UN.
should the US allow anything more sovereign
Yeah.
for itself.
I'm
Yeah.
totally in support
Yeah.
of that policy.
Yeah.
The
Also-
UN should
You
should
don't-
mediate cooperation, not fucking legislate.
We don't
from
need
above.
We don't need the United Nations. We just need the United States to complete manifest destiny and go beyond the shores of the Pacific, conquer the entire world, and then just become the United States. And then there you go. Everyone has
United
rights.
States.
Everyone has rights.
But that's the no. We gotta take out Canada first. That way we kick off the 40K timeline.
We're not gonna take out Canada. We're gonna nuke it out of fucking existence.
No, we need to take out Canada first to kick off the 40K timeline. This is the
Yeah,
only
but
way
that
it's going to work.
that's also. Don't forget that's also the fucking Fallout timeline.
Yeah, but the thing
Yeah,
is that
but-
no, that's
I
not.
love
Look,
how
that's not
every
going to happen.
post-apocalyptic
That's not going to happen, right?
I love how every post-apocalyptic timeline
Uh,
involves
and
Don't
every-
need to take over the world. We already control it.
It might actually be more like pragmatic to take over Africa, and no racism, by the way, but to take
We
over
did.
Africa and just have massive amounts of resources to do whatever you please at that
I
point.
think you'll
Like, so-
find you already did,
They've
colonists.
been there, done that.
Yeah,
got
but
the
then we
fucking
did
flag.
decolonisation is the
actually.
problem.
I'll give China a few years; they'll have that done.
But hang on, like unironically, like I mean, you are effectively looking at an American hegemony of the world, and they are Americanizing the world in the process. And this is
Appropriately
like,
so.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. This is like historical trends are going to spring from this, and the question is it a good thing or a bad thing, and what's the alternative? And to be honest with you, compared to the fucking alternatives, it's not probably not worse, is it? You know, like do you
Well,
want
see,
China
there's
being the
really
hegemon
only-
of the world? You know.
There's really only two outcomes in American hegemony of the planet, and that is, okay, is it going to be worse than what the alternative is, or is it going to be about the same?
Well, yeah.
I'd rather it be about the same than it be worse, which is like if you let China or Russia or the EU get a grip on the planet, then.
So when you got
Yeah.
a bunch
So,
of
so
super
what
chats.
should we expect the
Wait, there are a
Guardian?
bunch of super chats. I think the new one. I see there was a new super chat.
Oh, okay. I'll check them out. Sorry, what were you saying there?
I was just saying, when can we expect the Guardian headline that UKIP pundit Sargon of Akkad promotes the American annexation of Europe?
Honestly, I mean, the European Union is a dangerous project, in my opinion. And I think it's going to cause more tyranny in Europe yet again. And so I think I would much closer trust the US than the European Union. And honestly, so the next video I'm going to do, like, you know, I do like, you know, proper like scripted videos for my main channel now, right? So the next one I'm going to do is I think I'm going to call it something like the political triad, and I'm just going to talk about fascism, socialism, and liberalism, and where they come from, and why they are what they are, and how they view one another, and why, like, the SJWs will say, liberals, you know, like, I get this. I literally had this on my Facebook page the other day. This guy going, oh yeah, classical liberalism, just another name for fascism, because I was talking about protecting the borders, and it's like, no, dude, it's not just another like name for fascism, but it's because as the sort of radical left see things, they have certain things, and fascism is also concerned with the state. But like, where I guess you'd call it like the communist position. So the ultimate goal is to have nothing restraining the individual in any way, shape, or form, and then so no state, no hierarchies, no nothing, and then the fascist goal is total domination of the state over everything. And
Sargon, just a piece of advice with videos in general. Depends what your objective is. Your objective is to win people over from the other side. Stuff like your Starship Troopers video did an amazing job of it. I don't think I've ever seen that much engagement on my Facebook feed from one of your videos that I've shared.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, man. Thanks.
It's that kind of thing where the normies can relate. I think that is really bad.
Well, honestly, this isn't necessarily going to be for the normies, but I think it needs to be done because I'm sick of arguing with communists and them going, "Oh, you're a fascist." It's like, because I mean, I know why they perceive it to be fascism, but that's because they're stupid and they need to understand that these three things. And I'm going to explain like how the political philosophy got to where it was, because like I had a bunch of fascists, basically the same. I had a bunch of socialists on my Twitter feed going. All I did is said socialism is the parent of fascism, right? That is a demonstrably true statement. There isn't a political scientist alive who would say, well, obviously that's, you know, true.
Well,
like,
to create the communist utopia without any government, you have to go through the fascist domination of government over everything first, don't you?
Well, yes, that is exactly what they thought. But like, that fascism literally was spawned from socialism. I mean, Mussolini, Gentili, they were of the opinion that socialism was just a dead doctrine. I mean, they spent years as socialists and then decided socialism just wasn't going to work. So decided to come up with a new way of doing this based on the nation state and the sort of total domination of the nation state. It's like socialism on steroids. And
spoiler alert: fascism is the end result of all socialist policy.
Well, yeah, essentially.
Because at some point, people won't go along with the policy and they have to be killed.
Right.
It's not just that. It's increasing.
Communism is adorable and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it eventually becomes fascist.
It's the increasing need for power for control to maintain the artificial imposition of the state control. That's what it is. It's this power creep. So that's essentially like a spoiler alert. But I'm going to lay it out so it's clean, and I'll write out a proper script, so I'm not just talking off the top of my head, because it's just so annoying to have to explain it constantly. I think I can help them understand. I'll try.
Do you think people that are headed in that direction of fascism through socialism are conscious of what they're doing most of the time? Or do you think, like, I had this weird random thought that the EU was set up as a means to kind of put these people in a position where they can still kind of work towards their ideological goal of having a unified society under one kind of banner of values and ideas, which is almost the goal of fascism, except it's through the state, and the state expands universally, but globally, so that the EU is almost like a place for those people who aren't actually conscious that they're doing this to go into that position and to think they have power, but ultimately, like in the United States, have no jurisdiction over the people that actually have their own national sovereignty.
I don't think they're conscious of them doing
right.
it.
That's
They aren't. It's like people who perceive like they think they support free speech, but at the same time they are against hate speech.
Yeah.
It's like I saw a video yesterday, 2 days ago, like from a year ago, from Reason, when they basically asked students on the campus if they support banning hate speech, and almost all of them said yes, all of them. But at the end, they asked about free speech, and I think almost all of them, except like one or two, said, yeah, they support free speech and they're against government regulation of free speech. But so there is this form of, double think of, yeah, they think they're doing good and they don't see the harm. They believe, oh, hate speech. No one actually wants hate speech.
Well, see, this is the problem with that thing is I don't think that the overwhelming majority who advocate this kind of stuff and working toward this kind of eventuality, I don't think that they're doing it intentionally. Just for the simple reason that
yeah, obviously,
most people, I believe, probably advocate this kind of thing out of good intentions, but at the same time, the road to hell is paved with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Banality
That.
of
So,
evil.
They don't
so
necessarily see.
Here's the problem you have. Most people are really bad at thinking beyond a week or a month or so ahead. And most solutions that are actually practical for these things require long-term thinking. I mean, you've only got to look at how people balance their checkbooks to see evidence of that. Most people. So it's very hard for people to encapsulate solutions that aren't quite simple in their brain. So I think it's just people want easy solutions and they go for it thinking, well, this is easy and this will help people.
I don't even know if it's easy. It's sort of short term because you look at Brexit when people are saying, "Oh, well, short term it'll be bad." A lot of the Brexit is like, "Yes, but long term it'll be good." No, but short term it'll be bad.
Exactly that. And there's some evidence. Peterson has talked about this. If you don't believe me, go look at some of his short lectures. There's one of them where it talks about the psychological traits of left versus right, with short versus long term thinking. The right is much better at long term, but very bad at compassion, effectively.
I do have a. I actually think it might be more compassionate. Sorry, but go ahead.
Well, yeah,
but
then it's your
what
definition,
you
isn't
feel
it?
as compassionate, not what everyone else feels as compassionate.
Right, exactly.
Well, again, while it may be compassionate at the same time, the phrase still stands.
This is why I
Road to
genuinely
hell
hate
is paved
socialism.
with good intentions.
Right, with socialism, right? This is the thing. It's just they sit there with a moral goal. It's like we want everyone to be the same. It's like, okay, but your process has to be moral as well, and that's the problem. The process isn't. They sit there and go, well, the ends justify the means. And it's like,
Yeah, because a goal is good enough when a goal is good enough, sure, yeah, but it's how you achieve it is equally as important.
Oh yeah,
that goes back to that foundation thing I was talking about earlier, where if you don't have a moral foundation that you justify and build all your other choices and actions off of, you're gonna fail more than you're not, and you're never gonna get to the goal.
Yeah,
but it wasn't real communism, my dude.
Yeah, well,
See, that's where I get.
It never is when it fails.
That's where I get when I read the Doctrine of Fascism. I got the impression that Gentili and Mussolini sort of viewed fascism as just socialism when it's being honest with itself.
yes, that's a really great description.
Well, where's the lie though?
Like, and honestly, I think the thing that really ties into that is the fact that they literally. I mean, at points like. It's like anti-ideology is like men of action, It's like let's just get this done, and it's being honest about the process is.
They sound like socialists that have gone jaded. About their own ideology, basically.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to socialists, you basically have two types. You have your ideologically driven, people who are obsessed with the flowery language and the concept, and then you have the optimist socialists. Essentially, and then you have the kinds who are kind of fucking realistic, which at the end of the day realize that when it comes down to it, all said and done, you're gonna get fascism one way or another because we may have all these grand fucking ideas that we have for society, but how are you going to implement them? You can only implement them, of course.
What I find fascinating about the moderates is both sides of the debate are guilty of talking only to the opposite extreme. I've had a fair bit of success getting people to think about the consequences of some of these socialist policies by going the play it through games. Okay, play it through to its logical conclusions. So you want all people to be equal. Let's pretend you fast forward 50 years and you've got, for sake of argument, 50% women into certain jobs. In fact, let's pretend you've got 55%. You now have to stop women from getting those jobs. Are you comfortable with that? And just playing it through to the logical, not reducto ad absurdum, but playing it through until the scenario is reversed, and most of them go, you know what, I'm actually not okay with that.
Yeah.
It's unusually jarring to a lot of people who promote those kinds of ideas when you actually sit down and you explain the logical process of how things will go. Because, hey, time is fucking linear. And so you have to figure out that, what follows what. And at the end of the day, if you start implementing these ideas, the simple fact is the only way you're going to really implement them is by controlling people. And the only way you can really control people is with something by the equivalent of a fascist state, because
Hmm.
you need to have that overbearing control. You need to have that overbearing power. You need to be able to tell people you can only do this, you can only do that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, liberalism seems to be one of the few systems that allows dissent.
Well, liberalism seems to be one of the few systems that even considers that there should be a private life. I was thinking about this the other day. Like,
Yeah, that's a better way of phrasing that.
I didn't mean to but you know what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
everything else seems to want to have real control over the decisions that I consider to be personal decisions, and I have a real problem.
At the end of the day, everything else seems to have an obsession with controlling your individual life for the sake of some greater societal goal.
Greater good.
But liberalism is one of those concepts that's like, okay, that's cute, but no, because at the end of the day, it's the individual that matters, and it's your decisions, it's your life. You do as you please, but stick within these parameters. Don't fuck with other people. Don't hurt other people. Just live your life. Try to be a good person. And there you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain set of basic behavioural principles, but like once you say, right, we will all behave within this kind of certain range, then almost anything can be permissible, and that's kind of the conservative objection to the far left, actually, with the normalization of like various things that the religious types consider degenerate or whatever. Like, and Jonathan Haidt talks about this as moral senses, moral tastes. And I think he's probably got a point. And
well, see, I don't mean to drag, degenerate, stupid, pointless, trivial shit into this, but you kind of see that, and
well, that's the point, isn't
it? You kind of see this right now with what you were talking about.
Yeah.
You kind of see that right now in the furry community, is that they're so tolerant, they're so open, they're so sex positive and everything that you'll see these conventions that they have.
So I don't want to bring up Metica, but some of the stuff he came out with, Jesus, I mean that is dark shit.
Yeah, see, that's one of the inherent problems with like what Sargon was talking about, is that too much becomes permissible. Is that things get a little too loose. There's a weakening of moral convictions and principles and decency.
And then suddenly we're transitioning children.
They're so sex positive.
Tolerance for the sake of tolerance is not a good idea.
Well, there was a fantastic video.
They're so sex positive, they'll openly flaunt it, but at the same time say, "Hey, it's not about sex, you guys."
Well,
we're so family friendly.
There's a in California. The one where it made it completely legal to knowingly give somebody an STD.
No, hang on. It didn't make it completely legal. It made it a misdemeanor rather than a federal offence.
Yeah, and it's not any STD, it's HIV specifically.
You actually get more criminal time for misgendering people multiple times than you do for giving somebody HIV.
Intentionally and knowingly.
There's a very good video I watched by I'm trying to remember, it's a dragon or something, about why he left the furry community, and it broke down to a mix of it is literally as degenerate as people think and worse. And there's a lot of ideological hegemony pushing in there, including from both sides, because there's now a counterculture that's as bad as the other side.
Yeah,
who's echoing there, chaps?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It looks like Aaron, maybe.
See, this is just a funny thing about something like because as far as I've always told people, is that things like the furry fandom, anime, and all that stuff, they're basically just take society and whatever's occurring within it, and then put it into a little ball, a self-contained ball, and then just kind of jiggle it and make it seem a lot more extreme and seem a lot more chaos is going on, like a snow globe. Once you shake it, shit starts going haywire. And you have to kind of look at it that way, is that they basically take whatever the prevailing kind of popular narrative seems to be, and they just go a little bit overboard, which is why nowadays you'll see something that's been going on with the furry community in the past 2-3 years has been particularly an issue of the enforced attempt at ideological hegemony, Whereas it used to be just about, hey, fuzzy animal people and, fun and conventions and art and shit like that.
Mm.
Now you actively have people going around enforcing far left ideas and enforcing, literally, you have communists in the fandom trying to enforce their ideas on children.
Yeah, but the thing is, like these, yeah, exactly. I mean, they do it in schools at the moment, and they're also like Twitter. Like, it's a massive public institution at this point, and they just ban people for dead naming trans people or something now, and it's like that's weirdly specific.
So I've got a theory about that, Sargon, if it helps.
Oh, yeah, go
a couple
for
of people that work for social media companies, and I think what I'm hearing is, Twitter aside, I don't know anyone that works for that one, but some of the other, that the companies themselves aren't, in inverted commas, progressives. They've got activist bases working for them in sizable portions that they can't control very easily.
Great.
Well, that's I agree. I think that is exactly the problem.
Well, part of that's the nepotism, isn't it? Is once a few of them get in there, they try and recruit more of their own.
Precisely that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Also, for anyone that was interested, the video name was "The Furry Community's Worse Than You Could Imagine" by Cotherix, which is a guy about why he's leaving the furry community. And literally, as someone was saying, with the ideological hegemony, one of the things was they like to do these little art things of do your OC in this, and someone posted their OC, and I think it's some sort of tube top. I think it's like, you can't do that because you're a Trump supporter. What's that got to do with art?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's the pink, like almost crop tops pink sweater meme. And someone got their character drawn wearing that, and someone's like, you can't do that because you're a Trump supporter, you're fucking garbage or some shit like that.
So you can't partake in this meme because you voted for Trump.
Yeah, you can't partake in this meme. You can't be. And believe me, I've been a part of this fandom for 16 fucking years, and it's only in the last couple of years that people are telling me you're not a real furry because you don't think like I do.
So much stuff has changed in the
people
past couple
calling
years.
Milo
Very
not a real
interesting.
gay.
When I'm trying to, I find art and I'm like, hey, can you draw this? I want to put it on a shirt, make some merchandise. But like,
that's kind of why I just
like people that I've never interacted with in any way.
And that's kind of why I just troll these fucking people. I got my character drawn in that pink sweater meme, but wearing a MAGA hat with a really smug ass looking look on his face.
Remember when Fox News was crazy?
Once upon a time.
Man, you know it's
Right.
bad when they're the reasonable ones.
Yeah.
You know what I think is so sinister about it is that these people, they take their ideologies and they go into a rather innocent group, and honestly, dressing up as your animal or whatever your favorite animal is to try and like get away from social anxiety, it's rather innocent. But what these people do is they take their ideologies, whether there's 15 of them at the start, they go into this innocent thing, they subvert it because they're innocent and they want tolerance, and so they use tolerance as a tool to implement their ideas and to basically make an outgroup of the people who aren't tolerant to those ideas, and they feed on that in such a way that they propagate their ideology by subverting something innocent into a means to spread their belief system.
That's one interpretation. The second interpretation there is any ideology system, when only confronted to itself, allows its most extreme elements to control.
Correct. That as well.
Nothing innocent about degeneracy.
This is inherently the problem with ideologues, is that they can go into a space, like the furry fandom or like cosplay or the anime fandom and stuff like that, and they can go into a space that's meant as a form of escapism, and they can say, hey guys, why isn't it more like real life? Why aren't you more concerned about this? Oh God, why? Oh, you need to be concerned about the trans, and oh guys, just you need to be more involved. And hey guys, have you heard about my fucking pronouns yet?
This is exactly what I meant about the public and private life, because what you're describing is like a commitment to a thing that is more important in that context than the thing that they care about, and that I don't think that they can believe that can exist.
Well, see, the inherent problem, particularly with the furry community, is simply that there's, unfortunately, there's a lot of problems with the furry community.
Well, yeah, I can believe it.
In terms of the ideological aspect, is that there's two major factors that are really driving the ideological push in the fandom recently. and that is, first of all, the number of people joining the fandom overwhelmingly in the last few years have been very young people, people between the ages of 16 and 21. These are people who, unfortunately, in the last few years have been subject to a lot of the kind of ideological indoctrination of universities and high schools and stuff like that. Secondly, is that
Yeah, go ahead.
you have an unfortunately large amount of people, particularly the younger people, who are so desperate for some sense of escapism from their real lives that they don't refer to the fandom as being an interest or a hobby. They refer to it as a lifestyle. The same way, like people would be like, oh, it's it's a gay lifestyle. It's a something
Yeah.
lifestyle. Oh, it's a furry lifestyle.
Actually, like that's
God,
that's
modernity
taking
was a
over the
mistake,
whole.
wasn't it?
Invariably, it's people who take it too seriously, and so they see it as kind of an innate facet
I
of
don't think
themselves.
they take it too seriously. There's something in I've been reading a lot of pieces and stuff lately. There's something in that about being unwilling to confront the discomfort of life, and creating your own community, your own system allows you to eliminate a lot of that because it's set up the way you want it to be, not the way the world actually is.
I was
It does,
about
and
to
that's
say
kind of
the
the means of the escapism
meant
of it.
The real world,
But
and the real world is like the thing they have to grudgingly accept that it's not where they really put their I guess their stock into.
Oh yeah, but that's kind of the point. Is that
These days they've gone from begrudgingly accepting the real world to, well, let's try and change the real world to fit our hug box.
Well, see, that's kind of inherently the problem. Is that they, yes, it is a means of escapism. It is, but they go beyond that into making it part of they go to making it a part of their identity. Like I've literally seen I've literally seen dozens, if not a few hundred, posts of people, coming out, quote unquote, as furry.
Yeah,
like it's
identity
like
is
it's
something that without it,
like
they
it's
wouldn't
part of
know
their
who they were.
identity. It's part of who they
Yeah.
are. It's their lifestyle choice. It's an internal facet of their entire character.
I think that mindset is at the root of a lot of this. Like if you look at the fucking alphabet soup pride bullshit, it's the same. It's something that's a facet of your personality that's made into an identity on its own.
Well, I think everyone has their fetishes, but the difference is that there are people out there that now go, well, actually, I should be able to publicly talk about my fetishes, and everyone should know my fetishes. I should wear them on my sleeves, and if you don't like them, fuck.
You shouldn't
It's
be able
not
to
about
defend my
fetishization.
fetishes.
It's not about fetishization at all. It's about a furry is obviously a fetish, but the reason you see this is because these people haven't developed the emotional capability to do anything other than be exactly what. I mean, think of when you were brought up, you had to deal with some shit, and you learned what was publicly acceptable to show and what wasn't. These are people who've
bullying.
never been through that adaptation.
Bullying.
Well, see, because one of the inherent kind of one of the inherent kind of
bullying.
facets of furries overwhelmingly seems to be a problem with people who are generally kind of socially inept or incapable.
Right.
They're not really adapted to
But they've-
real life and real social circumstances and interactions.
How
And
could
Yeah,
they?
but that style.
It's kind of
that style.
Wait. Organize, don't shout, please.
That style of person has been around forever. Outcasts, people that would rather.
They have, but instead of creating a few of them, a small portion of them in society, we've now created a society full of by not having proper parenting strategies.
That's a great point.
Is it?
Well,
Is it just parenting?
I think so much of it is parenting based. Society starting to permit it.
Well, parenting is a significant issue, but what I feel makes the furry community and how it's a complete garbage fire unique is the fact that you have so many people who are of a younger age bracket going in, and while you could make an argument about it not being entirely about a fetish community or anything like that, realistically speaking, it pretty much has been taken over as by groups of degenerates. If you look at any time they've tried to hold conventions or stuff like that, just look up rainforest and other such cases,
Mhm.
there are a lot of degenerates there, and you have a lot of younger people going in. And these younger people, they're, typically they are socially awkward folks who are trying to fit in into a group, because during the teenage years up to, well, 16 to 21 is pretty much the age bracket for people actively trying to find not an age group, a social
Place,
group
a
to fit
place.
into. And so they will go to extremes in order to be considered in the in group. And then you have a lot of people who've been there for a while, who's probably, most cases, are the kinds of degenerates who turned it into a group of degenerates, who take advantage of the fact that people want to be accepted, particularly of that age group, and use it to manipulate them into, well, a lot of awful things and indoctrinate
Yeah,
them.
one
Have
of the things that Cotherix mentioned when he did his video about it is that there is a lot of grooming that goes on in the furry fandom.
A
There is
lot
a
of it.
massive
I
amount of
can't say that I'm
pedophilia.
surprised.
And one,
see,
hang on. And one of the things he talked about is very specifically is that when obviously everything usually starts over the internet, and what they do is when they meet someone they obviously know is underage, they'll start by going hello, and then eventually every time you talk to them, it'll be like in character actions like snuggles, stuff like that, and they eventually try and push them to getting more. Yeah, but eventually to push them to openly accepting the idea of just casual sex.
Right. Yeah, I've
And
seen
then-
that kind of shit before.
And then worst of all, like after they have them indoctrinated into this group, because it's all a bunch of people who are socially awkward trying to find their place in the world, all it takes is a few select people who don't even need to be charismatic, but just assertive enough to essentially take the position as the alpha, or the ringleader,
King
or
of the
whatever you want to
autists.
call it, the person in charge of the echo chamber, to really control things, and then immediately ostracize and call out or ban or whatever any individual who speaks up, and make it that much stricter.
And I think that's why like we can find it definitely gross what maybe many furries do in their fandom, but the reality is I think we should have a lot of empathy and compassion for them, because these are probably really vulnerable individuals that have been taken advantage of and are being manipulated by, like you said, a select few people into doing something that they're probably not conscious of the consequence of.
Yes.
I mean, all furries should just be hanged anyway, so.
No, to be fair, all furries need to be gassed, myself included. Sorry, Raj, you joined the club.
It's all right. From what I understand, the STDs are going to sort themselves out because there are people out that go to those cons that actively try and spread them.
Why are you doing it so slowly?
Well, I can tell you right now. I can
Crucifixion is
tell
the
you right
only
now,
answer.
Ardith. I can tell you right now, Ardith. Just this weekend, there was Midwest Fur Fest up in Chicago, and you have an HIV positive, pseudo popular furry.
Oh, is this the one who made the list of how many different guys he like fucked?
I don't know about that one, but there's this pseudo popular furry Dalmy or whatever who's HIV positive, and he's at Midwest Fur Fest, and he's out on Twitter just gloating about I just finished a 2-hour orgy.
Jesus Christ!
It's like, what the fuck are you? No.
It's like these guys are actively trying to prove, the ultra conservatives
Yeah.
who are trying to fight against gay rights and stuff like that. It's like they're trying to actively prove them right.
Well, see, and then you
So
have
here's something controversial. Who actually
even the sexualized stuff, even all kind of wraps back around to the ideological nonsense and the overly fervent promotion of sex positivity and things like that, because these are the same groups of people who will after the Zeus Hatus logs and everything came out, they'll bitch about zoophiles and they'll bitch about pedos and stuff like that, but at the same time they are more than happy to have convicted child abusers like a guy named Growly, and there's this guy who runs a furry printing art and pillow and whatever, a printing service, Sangi. He is a 2 or 3 times convicted of inappropriate contact with a minor.
Well,
and
can I ask
and the
a
convention
question?
is more than happy to let him have a dealer's table at the convention. Countless people have spoken up about it and the concern about him being there. And the
can I ask
convention has said, fuck all.
Can I ask a question quick? First of all,
just be careful. Just be careful what you say. You're on a stream, right? So just be careful.
Yeah.
Second thing. Now,
Well, I haven't used any real names, so.
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
saying,
but
just
good
saying.
advice to be careful.
So, the thing that I want to ask about is this? Can we kind of attribute this to evolution? Now, and when I say that, I mean before pedophiles and whatnot used to infest a lot of things like group homes, homes for abused children, so on and so forth. That got found out, so on, then they moved somewhere else, and then that got found out, then they moved somewhere else, and they keep moving around and around, and everywhere they go, they kind of make the area around them worse. I kind of notice.
But look at it this way: if you're the logical sense,
They're going to
if
say you're being racist towards paedophiles there, you know?
Dun, dun, dun.
No, that's how they'll interpret it.
Right.
Like,
I
Islamophobia is
also
becoming a race now.
Yeah,
Chat
Sargon,
is screaming
Sargon's-
exterminatus.
Sorry, yeah, carry on.
Sargon's joking, but there are sections of the left that argue that essentially that it's
Yeah.
just an orientation. I'm like, fucking hell, no, it
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, no, they literally kind of view it that way. The far
Well, it's
left.
'cause
They're sort of
they-
like the rabid ideologue types, you know.
Well, yeah, they need something to blame always. And you're always something phobic.
Yeah, well, they always need some champion to cause, and eventually they should get further and further down the list, don't they?
The victim culture.
It's oppression. It's about oppression. Because they want, like,
Oppression
no...
Olympics.
Well, they think that...
Isn't everything?
Yeah, any form of hierarchy is unjust, and any kind of, top-down imposition is a form of oppression.
Unless, of course, you suddenly ask them about the hierarchies they make with the regressive stack.
Well, I'm serious. Like Foucault, I think it was, wrote about the oppressive nature of prisons, and capitalism uses prisons to oppress people effectively. I think it was Foucault. I can't remember where I read it. I'm sure it was him, but it's one of these postmodernists. Like literally wrote that, and it's like, well, I mean, in a sense, he's not wrong. But yes, like it's a necessity of living in a society with a governing structure.
In a sense, he's not wrong. Yes, prisons are oppressive, but at the same
can't go
time,
wherever you want
Yeah.
what the fuck are you going to do with your criminals?
Well, sometimes you kind of deserve to be oppressed, you know.
Yeah.
If you're going to look at it like that, you know, if you.
Well, the thing about criminals and prisoners is that you create your
Too many
own
people
oppression.
talking at
Hang
once.
on, one at a time, Chaz.
Who wants to
Okay,
go first?
so Empress, however you say your name, please.
Yeah. Alright, I feel like the morality, or at least what I would consider to be a good morality to have on this whole thing of what oppression is acceptable, is you have all of your default rights. For me, it'd be my human rights and my constitutional rights as an American, and for everybody else, it'd be their human rights and whatever kind of equivalent constitution that they have, until they perform actions that forfeit said rights.
Well, you never
I
forfeit your rights,
on
but there might be a reasonable punishment, like a reasonable case to, but you don't forfeit the
You
right.
don't forfeit your rights, but you are
Hmm.
reasonably punished for violating the rights of others.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm not saying like you permanently, destroy your right or anything like that. I mean, you will be placed under situations where those rights are temporarily omitted from, essentially your.
They can be suppressed, yeah.
Yes.
Your rights are
suppressed.
suspended.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
I mean, if I go and kill somebody and violate their right to life, I have a
Exactly.
my
That's,
right to life
good
either
example.
should, be allowed at that point. I should be punished by having that removed.
That's irreversible, so we should try to rehabilitate you first.
Well, yeah, it's dependent on the punishment. Like my right to life being refused for killing somebody, it's kind of dependent. Well,
Yeah, like we shouldn't
what's the
just go for
punishment?
an eye, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what's the punishment going to be? Am I going to be electric chaired? Am I just going to be put in solitary confinement for the rest of my life? Am I going to be put in prison and then try to be rehabilitated, etc.? It's dependent.
We did the Monty Python one where he's chased off a cliff by a bunch of half-naked women.
I personally feel the death penalty is too damn expensive.
It's more expensive than
It's not if you do a hanging. It's not if you hang.
Hey, a bullet costs 10 cents. Calm down.
No, the reason it's expensive is because of all the appeals processes that death row inmates go through.
And death row is made to have a lot of amenities, because the idea is like the whole idea of your last meal. You know, they make it as good as possible because you're presumably going to die shortly after. But with all the appeals and everything, which I don't deny, are there for a reason, since it's, you know, if you are innocent, it would make sense that you'd be put on the highest priority of making sure that they find that out if you're on death row. But on the other hand, it makes death row way more expensive than not death, life sentence. In many cases, there are exceptions.
Yes.
Interesting
Right,
thing about death row as well. Go on.
I think I'm gonna call it a night since it's just gone midnight. We've been going for a few hours, but
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like what, midnight over there?
yeah, it's quite late. Sorry, I'm getting tired. Fucking,
Oh,
I hate that thing. It's like, yeah, but I'm always streaming late at night, for fuck's sake. I think I'm entitled to get tired and want to go for a nap. It's not the middle of the afternoon.
Zarkon, it's almost like you might want to start keeping sensible out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. My
How dare you go to sleep?
Oh, sorry,
No,
no, the
no.
boomer life is hard.
It is. It's just tough life being a boomer. Like, there's no sympathy. I'll tell you that.
Well, see what you gotta do. What you gotta do, Sargon, is you gotta just forgo sleep like a proper boomer,
Yeah.
because you're responsible, and you need to go pick yourself up a couple cans of big old boomer juice.
I will. And by that I mean some sort of
Hey,
sleeping aid.
do you want to slam out the rest of the super chats if you have any?
Oh,
and
sorry,
just
did I
everybody-
miss some? I didn't see any.
I don't know. I do not know. Just asking.
Fucking old man Sargon. Kink shaming is my kink. It's like what Carl said with the water bottle boy. I don't think bullying necessarily leads to suicide citation needed. Yeah, I think it's more like ostracization which leads to the real it definitely leads to shootings, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
It seems like a lot of these people are just basically outcasts. Do well, boys. Thanks very much. Anyone get a chance to go hunting? Bagged 2 elk this week when I shared a picture. Age restricted. Well, I mean, a lot of people are sensitive about that sort of thing, and like, it's really annoying. Like, people get virtue signally on social media about animal hunting, and it's like, look, sometimes they're a pest, you know. Sometimes these things, or it's whatever.
vegan.
Well, they don't know where your food comes from. Like, where the heck do you go to? I mean, vegans, yeah, but everybody else that gets afraid of animal slaughtering, it's like, where do you think it comes from? You don't have to do it, so you're offended by it.
Well, I'm not
Zarkon's got
against
the right idea. I'm off to bed. Later on.
All right, take it.
The thing with vegans is that they go, all vegetables are better than meat. But like, do you know that it takes 5.5 bathtubs full of water to grow a kilogram of avocados, where it takes half a bathtub full to grow a kilogram of lettuce. Avocado is probably one of the most environmentally damaging fruits in the world.
But they taste great.
They're not fruits, they're berries.
Vegetables are better than meat. My steak
Yeah,
last
right.
night begged to differ.
I did not know that.
Did it beg literally?
Right. Anyway.
It did right before I put it the fuck down.
Annex me, daddy. someone in Canadian dollars, obviously from Japan. America.
Don't worry,
annexing Canada.
don't worry, Canada, Stan. We'll get to you eventually.
Alaska's open.
Crimea.
Simon, will you take the cause of Sir Oswald Mosley and liberate the British people and all Europe from world Jewry? No. put it simply, everyone should just copy our constitution. Yes. Comrades, the voices of dead battalions of those who fell that Britain might be great, join our song, for they still march in spirit with us, all of those who fell to gain the fascist state. Yeah, but the problem is we know what happens with the fascist state, and it's really awful. Like, you can keep saying that, but it doesn't make fascism any less awful.
As far as I go, just a few more 100,000 bodies and it'll work this time.
Fallout 76 is the game that ended on the worst ending at least 10 days before the players ever left the vault. Yeah, that is a great fucking point. I cannot understand for the life of me why you would set your game, a multiplayer game, after some giant exciting apocalypse of raider factions fighting. Like, that's the bit that everyone wants to play, motherfuckers. That's the point, isn't it?
No, gamers don't know what they want. We know what you want. And you want this.
You
Buy our
You
canvas
think
bags.
you do, but you don't.
Yeah.
We know what you want, gamers. Have I told you about Depression Quest lately?
Jesus,
In 76, did you
This
actually
is
get
about
to
give
like
me
do?
Depression Quest.
In 76, do you actually get to do like in Fallout 4, where you play a little bit before you get into the vault, or is it just straight into leaving the vault?
Yeah, it's a very short bit though, because everyone's gone. There's nothing in there.
all you do
There's
is
probably
collect
stuff to
your-
collect, but there's no one in there, to talk to.
You
It's
collect some
actually
gear.
kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, you collect a couple pieces of gear and then you leave and never go back ever
No,
again.
no,
even
but
though
I
the
meant,
vault
like,
is loaded.
No, but I mean, like, there isn't anything like we're in 4 where you play as right before the bombs fall and you have to get into the vault. There's none of that
No.
stuff then.
No, nothing. You wake
No,
up.
that would be interesting. That would
Yeah,
be
you
world
wake-
building.
No, you just wake up in an empty, boring ass vault, and then you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna grab a couple shits," and then you leave, and you never come back, and then it's just a clusterfuck from that point.
Yeah, but
grab your Pip Boy and go.
Sargon, did you see this posted in Symposium there? The Fallout bag thingy.
Oh yeah. I think I hang on.
That's crazy.
What the sack sort of the
Yeah, the bag
The
Bethesda's
nylon.
claiming is too expensive to make is like $5.
Oh really?
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
exactly
$5.
it. It's exactly how much. Yeah, it's exactly how much ruby atom you get.
Yeah,
It's too
unless you're a
It's
famous
too expensive
YouTuber,
to
in which
make.
case
Here's
they'll give you
$5
the
in
actual bag.
microtransactions.
Here, it's in Ecclesia.
Yeah, hang on. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. So.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Dev posted that up there, right underneath the soldiers taking off their helmets to show solidarity against Emmanuel Macron. So that's great.
That's the other bag, isn't it? I thought the bag that they originally made was like that plasticky nylon.
No. The original bag wasn't it?
I can't see the stream. Can you guys see that on the stream? It should turn up in a second.
Yeah, the stream's working.
Yeah, because the bags that they sent to the
Hopefully I put it up on
official
the screen.
Bethesda influencers at the original play test thing event that they had wherever their studios were, I guess the bags that they got were far more high quality because those YouTubers made little like videos about here's my swag bag that this company gave me.
I mean, it
I love
does.
that.
It does look
Didn't
like
they
an
end up
identical
screwing
bag.
over the people who ended up buying those bags, giving them shit ass nylon or something?
Yeah,
It's a
that's
very
what I
cheap.
thought.
I mean, it's a $5. It's between two. It's between $3 and $5 essentially.
Also,
Wow, that's
Sargon,
kinda-
if
that's
you
kinda
don't
garbage.
know about it,
Well-
the best irony of it is that the in-game skin to buy that actually has the bag that they send people cost $7 when they only give you $5 worth of apology atom.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's
the
amazing, isn't
exchange
it?
rate for what you can get with atoms, with how much they cost, with how slowly you get them in game, is its own little. It's like a controversy within a controversy. It's layers of incompetence.
It's such a slap in the face. Anyway, let me carry on through these.
It almost seems intentional, like in a weird way, like they're shooting
Yeah,
themselves in the
intentional.
foot to cut their losses or
Yeah.
something. It's really
Yeah.
weird.
Maybe they're hoping people will just abandon it and move on to the next thing.
Right.
They just want to kill their old IP.
Why?
Todd Howard doesn't care. He got
It's
his
like
dog.
watching episode 8 all over again.
Oh no.
Anyway, let me carry on through these. Have I tried EU4? I like it. Yeah, I've got EU4, man. This isn't New Vegas. This is Discount Wastelands I heard about. This is Fallout 1. If working minor is eligible to vote, then shouldn't you lose your right to vote and pay taxes? Is this the logic? Because I agree. That's an interesting perspective, as in that's actually sort of service guarantee citizenship, isn't it? And honestly, do I disagree? I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Unicircs on Gen Z was paying net taxes at 17. Oh man. Well, then what's my argument for you not having representation? Like, you're a kid. Yeah, but you're working all the time. You're doing everything everyone else is doing. Like, what's the argument? Consider this policy: you can vote if you do not take government subsidy and not employed by the state, and you are not declared a dependent. Bit stringent, I would have thought. You have to pay taxes and vote when 25 sold. I think the tax burden is going to be a bit large, to be honest, at that point. Adopted orphans, I'm afraid I don't know, it's out of context. Consider all 20-ish freeloaders can vote. Yeah, there are loads of hipsters that can vote. It's a real problem. We need to sort that out. Maybe you've got to meet a minimum tax threshold before you can vote. I'm joking. Four-year-old child actor works and gets taxed but does not get to vote. It's age, not employment. Yeah, but I mean, you know, the thing is, 18 and 16. It's relatively arbitrary. You know, there's no particular reason it's 16 or 18. Because I mean, it's not like 18-year-olds are like markedly more experienced than 16-year-olds in like how politics works. You know, I'm just thinking of myself as well. It's like, would we have known? No, of course.
16-year-olds get to vote in Scottish elections.
And Scotland is the SNP.
Yeah, that's true.
Rebuild Hadrian's Wall.
Right. It's about paying net taxes. I'm not sure how that applies there. Wife, I want to try pegging. Husband, I want to try divorcing. Yeah, dude, seriously, like, what strange thing. Why is it that gay men don't fap to trap porn, but straight men do? That's a good question.
Well, by definition, they're not straight anymore.
Hold up, I don't know if I
They're
accept
not
the premise.
straight.
You got a stat for that?
I was gonna say, says who? I'm gay. I fap.
Is there a trap wank census?
Well, yeah, maybe that's the next thing that needs to be done.
Well, hang on, to be almost serious for a second, isn't the point of a trap that they look like a woman? So if you're gay, that wouldn't appeal to you.
That's why I say they're inherently bisexual.
I mean, it's still gay because it's got.
You're still fapping to a dude.
Wait! We've actually breached a new layer of the trap argument. That's a good point. Gay guys are not going to want to have sex with something that looks like a woman. So is it about intent?
No. That's not.
That's what I'm saying. It's bisexual.
There's a difference between knowing it's a woman and a man possessing traits that we would call feminine.
Then that begs the question, like, what exactly is it that drives gay men to want to have sex?
Oh no, we are not going this route again.
What has
we are not
philosophy
going
become?
Matt, are you suggesting gay people who are
Discussion,
closet
you'd be
straight?
having it for
I don't
hours.
know. I don't.
They're gonna come out as straight.
I'd love to have the discussion, but it would last at least 6 hours.
Has anyone ever written a paper about this, like a dissertation or something?
Dude, there has to be.
I should.
Because I would love to.
Because it's
yes,
like
we're gonna
hope.
have him.
You know, I can almost bet $1,000 that I could go on a peer-reviewed journal and find at least 20 of them.
I mean, this is a legit philosophical argument at this point.
Yeah.
Are conceptual penises gay?
But okay, so setting up the premise then, the whole point of the trap question is if you don't know it has a penis and you have sex with it, are you
It's
gay?
about
right?
action versus intent.
Yeah, but that's the premise. It's like if you don't know it has a penis, then
God.
Go again.
You don't know the trap.
That's why I said
you're mentally
do
challenged.
after you know it's a trap.
Yeah.
To it and you don't know, no.
Yeah, if you think that what you're attracted towards is a woman, right? Then all it means is that there are things that we are. I mean, this is partially society, partially biology. That we see feminine traits in another human being, and we're like, oh, that's a. Especially if it's very, very convincing, we'll go, hey, that's a woman, and they don't think I am straight, therefore I am attracted to that. It's just it's in your head.
Well,
But how do you miss the dick when you're already fucking them?
No, that's what I said earlier.
If you're having
that's what I
sex
said.
with
Just
gay.
that's what I said just a second ago. After you find out that it is a guy and there's a penis on it and it's a dude, it's what you do after that will determine the answer to the question whether or not you're gay.
Sarge,
I don't think it necessarily.
I just don't find it believable
necessarily
that
has
many
any-
people are actually tricked until they're actually fucking them.
I don't think it
Well,
necessarily
that's
has
a
anything
different
to
question.
There are seriously.
I don't think it has anything to do
gay
with before or after. I think in the terms of, what the reality is and what the intention is, I think it's a facet of both. Because, your intention may be, hey, I'm going to fuck this chick, but actually it has a dick. Well,
Okay. We're going to pick this up another time because I have to get through this.
By the way,
there are Schrodinger's trap.
There are like hundreds.
Exactly, Schrodinger's trap.
Schrodinger's trap.
There are hundreds of
Schrodinger's
journals.
faggot.
Right. Okay. That was a hell of a question, then, Mr. Twisted Frenzy. Thank you very much. Xeronax says feminine penis, masculine vulva. Well, that's basically what the SJWs believe can exist. The taxation representation argument of workers at 16, full-time 17, paying for Ontario's SJW institutions to indoctrinate people against productivity itself. That's a good point. That's what they're doing. It's fucking crazy. Any chance for a New Vegas stream? Probably not. Like, I quite like this kind of game because it's slow, so I can think about what's going on rather than just focusing on the action. Because it's not very much action.
Isn't that what VATS mode is for?
I never use VATS in first person ones. I always hate it.
Sargon's too slow, too much.
No,
of a boom.
I felt it was kind of cheating. The problem with minimum wage is it puts a kid out of the workforce. They're competing for jobs, same jobs as other people. Then vote for more welfare. Suck. Yeah, I think like the only reason we really need a minimum wage is because of the mishandling of the sort of the national economy, I suppose you'd put it. You know, like the fact that they open borders is like, and the fact that capital can move between nations. You probably wouldn't need one if these things weren't allowed, because you wouldn't have excess competition within the nation. So it'd be worth paying people a decent wage to get them to do things. You know,
The problem with the minimum wage, particularly here in the United States, is the simple fact that it's been kept so inappropriately low for so long.
I think it's
that
artificially being
it
depressed.
It incentivizes companies to hire like teenagers, like 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And I gotta admit, as somebody who works in a service industry, I absolutely fucking despise that my company is just constantly hiring teenagers who are incompetent, who are lazy, who don't fucking work, and
I have the exact same experience. I worked in the service industry, and half the majority of new hires would be lazy, incompetent, or they just wouldn't show up.
Yep.
Yeah, just a bunch of shitty little kids just looking for an extra little money on the side, and that's all they are, and they don't care. They're not going to work hard, and fuck them, honestly.
Feel attacked.
Retail has something like a 50 to 80% turnover rate per year.
Jeez.
Well, that's due to
kids are why.
After high
That's
school.
well, that's due to other reasons. That's getting new faces in the door, because people that come in the door, they don't want to see the same old stuff every time. There's actually a psychological reason behind that.
Well,
right, I'm going to carry on because we're starting to meander again. Sorry.
No, let's start a new discussion about hotels.
Right. No, I'm pretty sure I'm up to the point that I was last time. With the last one being, ever notice that everyone wants communism or socialism until there is an autocratic
You cut out
power
there,
in
Sargon.
Sorry?
You cut out with that last one.
Oh, it must have been a Discord thing or something. Yeah, the last one. Ever notice everyone wants communism, socialism until there is an autocrat in power and your country collapses? Yeah, that's. I mean, well, even then, the socialists still think that socialism's a good idea for some reason. I mean, now they just get, honestly, when I talk to them online, they just got to the point where it's like, oh, Venezuela. And it's like, dude, like Maduro blamed his own party for causing this. He sat there like, we're the Socialist Party of Chavez. You know, we're the revolution. Also, you did this with socialism, dumbasses.
Yeah, socialism is a great fucking concept if you're one of those high-paid fucking corrupt party members.
If you're part of the party, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, if you're head socialist, it's great.
Yeah,
it's ironic as fuck.
I just love it how it's like it was always look at Venezuela as an example how socialism is working. Hey, Venezuela was failing. Don't look at Venezuela.
The next fucking day, we're not talking about Venezuela anymore. What? It's not real socialism. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, but remember
the funny thing about socialism is that, you know, it's a great fucking idea if you're a party member, but God forbid you be a dissenter. Then, just like every other authoritarian regime, dissenters are just kind of turned.
We have to kill you for the common good.
It's the greater good, isn't it? I tell you what, it's
just a few more bodies.
It's Rousseau's general will, man. It's the
socialism will finally work when we hit 300 million dead.
Yeah. But it was Rousseau. All of this comes from Rousseau.
By eating babies.
But anyway, right. I'm gonna end the stream next. I've got to the end. Thanks everyone for joining, and chaps in the equation. Thanks for hanging out. It's been really good fun.
Sub
to PewDiePie.
Yes.
Sub to PewDiePie. Yes, everyone. Sub to PewDiePie.
The PT series.
Yeah, I would like to apologize, Sargon, for dragging a bunch of random, furry shit into this.
It's fine. No, it's fine because what you're giving is an analysis of the furry community, and it's not like there aren't.
What I was giving was a damn. Your Discord sucks.
Yeah, it's. Oof. Are you cuss? Am I cussing out again? Am I?
Oh yeah.
No,
the British state is censoring Sargon.
Dun, dun, dun. No, it's like a legit thing. It's got hundreds of thousands of people in. Probably, it's massive. It seems.
Yeah.
I think your voice activation detection level is just like too high or something.
Sargon, did you not pay your Discord license?
Well, okay. Either way, right. Thanks everyone. Either way, the people listening to me can hear it fine, so that's fine. Anyway, see you later, guys. Bye.